All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 93 of the Salvaggio and Cratty Sports Podcast. Actually, wait, not yet. I got to hit record. I almost forgot again.
That would not be good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 93 of the Salvaggio and Cratty Sports Podcast. Here for you on a Wednesday night during game 2 of the Bruins. Currently just about 9 minutes left in the first. So we'll be reacting as we go here and, talking about what we need to talk about. Episode 93, of course, being, as I pull the outline back up as a reminder, no Bruins, the PJ Brown episode for the Celtics, no Red Sox, Lawrence Guy, Jabal Sheard, Andre Carter in, last but not least, saving the best for last, Richard Seymour, a legendary Patriot, no doubt about that. Ryan, how you doing?
Doing good. Happy May the 4th be with you. As you can see, I have my Jedi robes here. Very festive for the occasion.
Excellent.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, a lot of Bruins stuff obviously going on right now, trying to even up the series with Carolina, trying to take a page out of the Celtics book as they were able to even up their series with Milwaukee last night. And then some much anticipated, if you've been following us on Twitter the last couple of days, reactions to the Patriots in the NFL draft that we'll kind of save for last because, like I said, there's more pressing stuff that we're going to probably have to get to first.
100%. To start, as usual, moments of the week. Good and bad. I'll start Jared Spurgeon, cross-checking Pavel Buchnevich in game 1 of the Wild and Blues series. I'm going to be looking over a lot. Just a heads up for the Bruins game as I have it off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Just a dumb play. If you didn't see it, they both go down to the ice. Spurgeon is behind Buchnevich and just cross-checks him, two-hands him in the ankles, like Achilles area. And it could have just seriously hurt Buchnevich, and it was really dumb and short-sighted by Spurgeon, a guy who's not known for stuff like this, to do something like that. So it was just really dumb. He got suspended 5 games. I wouldn't have been opposed to there being a suspension there. I wouldn't have thought it was a big deal, but as I pull up the stream right here for the Twitter chat, but it's whatever, it's whatever. It wasn't suspended, but it wasn't a great look for Spurgeon. Pretty dumb. I bet he, has some regret about it. But yeah, not a great look for Jared Spurgeon. That series is probably going to go 7 games, I'd say. And got up to an explosive start with that being one of the main storylines. Malcolm Subban, also in hockey news, singing the national anthem at the Sabres and Blackhawks game. This actually might have been more than a week ago, but I'm highlighting it regardless. Fractured his larynx from a shot he took to the neck in Providence in 2016, back when he was with the Providence Bruins, and sang the national anthem in 2022, 6 or so years later, in front of his former Blackhawks teammates and, of course, in front of the Sabres faithful, who he currently plays for, in between them and the Rochester Americans, I think, since he's been traded there. Really cool. He's pretty good, too, honestly. He had some, teammates and former teammates laughing, but I think they were just laughing at the fact that, he was doing it and it was kind of unexpected to some of them, probably. Not obviously, of course, to disrespect the anthem or anything, but really cool moment for Malcolm Subban, a former Bruin. Not really cool moment. The Carolina Hurricanes just scored.
I was going to say you're on delay, so I saw that. Probably you didn't want to say anything and spoil the bad moment to start.
Where are you at? You're obviously at the replay right now.
Yeah, they're showing the replay.
I feel like we're on the same.
Are we now? Because you said before we were a little delayed. Yeah. So
no. I think we're on the same now.
Okay.
That was when I had the other stream up.
Gotcha.
But yeah, just an easy backdoor shot. I mean, Clifton
typical.
Can't get a stick on it.
I was just gonna say typical start too for the Bruins. They're out shooting them for the most part. Kind of just like I said, glimpsing up at this. They look like they've outplayed them so far. Out shooting them 8-4, and they're down 1-0 again. And now Carolina's surging once again, kind of similar to the first 2 goals for them in game 1. So not a great look again.
Yeah, not great at all. Oh boy, that's just really unfortunate. Puts a damper on things a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Still early, so hopefully they can obviously get something going.
But yeah, back to moments of the week here. The Tom Hodges situation, can't go without mentioning that. The emergency backup for Anaheim, their last game of the regular season against the Stars. 28-year-old insurance salesman from England who spent a good chunk of his life living in Texas. I think he lives pretty close to like the Stars Arena, if I'm not mistaken. He helps tutor goalies. They use him in had him around since 2019. He's a graduate of SMU. John Gibson and Anthony Stolarz both left the game with injuries. He's wearing Stars gear and a Ducks jersey. Really funny. He said he almost had a panic attack before the game, but his teammates settled him down. I'd have a panic attack too if I had to do that.
Yeah.
He got so much applause, and the Stars players congratulated him after. He made 2 saves on 3 shots. They kind of settled him down, saying like you could let up like something along the lines of, like you could let up 1 goal, you could let up 10. Like it doesn't matter. Like just go out there and like try and enjoy it. And just an unforgettable moment. A guy that has a passion for hockey too, not just some random guy that works there and maybe just doesn't even care about hockey. He just does it for a paycheck. A guy who like genuinely enjoys the sport too, which is cool. So really cool to see that for Tom Hodges. The only sport in the world where you can have emergency, people
Players,
come into the game, just random people. But what a spectacle! Honestly, it was really cool. It was really like, I don't know if wholesome is the right word, but it just like gave you like a feel good feeling.
I think you could classify it as that. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think a wholesome for some reason more so like for like, so you see in like a video of a dog or like a little kid doing something funny, like I don't know, but along the same lines. Yeah, those are my 3. Being 1 on the dickhead side of things, and 2 on the good side of things. For Spurgeon and Buchnevich, I'm going tier 3. The Subban thing, tier 5, and Hodges also tier 5 because they were just awesome. Went between 2 and 3 for the Spurgeon and Buchnevich thing, but 3 felt fair. Your overall thoughts on any of these, if you have them, any incidents or awesome occurrences?
My kind of stand. I mean, the Subban thing was pretty cool. I don't know how many sports you can say, or you see guys that are currently, because you said he's still currently active, or he's actively been up and down. So that's kind of a cool moment. Guys actively playing for a team, but also, or not in this case actively, but obviously, you know what I mean. And I think it's to sing the national anthem. Pretty cool there. The Spurgeon thing, I saw that on Twitter. That was just like a not hockey type play type of thing, completely unnecessary, like all that stuff. So kind of surprised. I mean, the fine's not surprising. I mean, I don't know if it was really suspension worthy, so maybe not a surprise that it was no suspension, but what can you do? It's playoff hockey, guys. You're not supposed to have your temper get the best of you, but shit happens. So you have it happen, move on, and then maybe, something becomes of it as the series goes on, but, hopefully not.
Yeah, but that series, there's plenty of toughness on either side, not like overwhelmingly tough teams, but guys that can get in the mix. You got Jordan Greenway, you got Ryan Hartman, Robert Bortuzzo's one on St. Louis. Barbashev gets in the mix sometimes. There's a few guys, other guys I haven't mentioned too. I'm not going to run down the whole list. No need for that. But yeah, but an interesting week. Not as funny, I'd say, as last week with the whole Anthony Edwards thing and the Reds' dad, and I forget what the other one is off the top of my head. I'm drawing a blank. As Gary Smith says, let's go Celtics in the chat. We'll get to Celtics after the Bruins stuff, but yes, Celtics talk is going to be fun.
Absolutely. Much better than what it would have been if we only had one game to talk about. But
can either of you sing the national anthem for us?
Absolutely
not right now.
not. No.
Maybe some other time. Not right now.
No.
That would be pretty funny though.
It's a time and a place. Maybe you can make a TikTok about that or something. But
not me.
I'm definitely not. No chance.
Ryan, on to yours.
I mean, I continue to stick with more so just the dickhead more so moment of the week. I got to get out of that and maybe get some more feel good moments like you have. But I'm going with Ryan Tannehill. I don't know if you saw his comments after the Titans. Maybe surprisingly, I think it was more surprising that Malik Willis fell as far as he did in the draft. Maybe not surprising that the Titans were the team that took him, because the Titans, I mean, Ryan Tannehill's contract is up in 2 years. Ryan Tannehill arguably is the reason they lost that playoff game against the Bengals. He was not good in it. So he was asked about Malik Willis, just kind of overall how things are going to go with him being in the quarterback room. Tannehill's catching a little bit of flack for his comments. He said, quote, "We're competing with each other. We're watching the same tape and we're doing the same drills. I don't think it's my job to mentor him. But if he learns from me along the way, that's a great thing. The big, obviously, thing there is that I don't think it's my job to mentor him. And anytime I see that with a professional athlete, I mean, obviously, it was kind of, we had a similar situation with the whole Brady and Garoppolo thing where people obviously talked a lot about, Brady kind of dismissing Garoppolo on stuff, what happened way back then. Anytime I see that, it just kind of makes me think like you're being a shitty teammate. Like, especially in the case of Ryan Tannehill, like Ryan Tannehill is not anything special. I saw some people on the video I took the quote from that were saying, Ryan Tannehill is an elite quarterback. He doesn't have to mentor him if he doesn't want to. Bruins are down 2-0 now on a looked like a triple deflected puck that went in. I'm sorry to break that to you, but yeah, I mean, just it's Ryan Tannehill. Like, buddy, you should maybe he's feeling the heat. I don't know how he couldn't not be feeling the heat of Malik Willis, coming in, being a guy that was probably supposed to go higher than he did. And like I said, Tannehill didn't have a great season last year, had a horrible playoff game. So you got to think there's maybe some questions if, he's going to be the guy moving forward or can be the guy moving forward. And then, like I said, just anytime anything like that comes up with, it's not my job to mentor him. Like, dude, you're a veteran in the league. Like, you've been around the bush, what it takes to win in this league, what it takes to be successful to some degree. So you should, I feel like, to some degree, be helping him. I get where people may be arguing, like, he's obviously looking out for himself and doesn't want the kid to come in and take his job, which I get. But like, again, like that's something I feel like you should keep to yourself in a sense. I don't know if you feel the same way, if you have any problems with Tannehill's comments or not, or just your overall thoughts on the situation.
Yeah, I get where he's coming from, but I get why the comments were taken the way they were. I think it would have been a better look if he just threw on like, yeah, I'm excited to have him as a teammate though. Like, I don't want
exactly
taken the wrong way. Like, people still would have come to these conclusions, but like, I don't know, he kind of didn't make it seem like he was very excited for him to be there.
No, it didn't seem like it.
And I mean, I understand that, but you got to be a little more, got to handle it a little better. I think that's for sure.
Yeah. There's a way to say that too, where like, yeah, you don't want the guy, he probably doesn't want him there. Like I said, it feels like this is threatening his job. Like, you could just sit there and same thing where, we're competing with each other, but we're going to, like I said, compete with each other and make each other better because of that. Like, I'm going to learn from him. He's going to learn from me. I'm sure there's stuff he could teach, like something along the lines of that. Just like paint some sort of BS picture. If you're not even if you're not happy, like you could spin that where you could lie. I guess it's not obviously great to do that, but like not come out and say that, it's not my job to mentor him. Partly it's not, that's what coaches are there for. But like, again, you're the starting quarterback. You've been in this league for, I got to think, at least 10 plus years now. So like, he definitely knows something and he has something he could teach to Malik Willis, but doesn't seem like he wants to do that, at least right out of the gate. And now he's kind of, like I said, catching some backlash for it. So I have it as a tier 3 on the more dickhead side of things. It's, not an overly egregious thing, and not a like just he's a complete a-hole for saying it, but like not a great look in the long run.
I think too, like he kind of meant by it in a way like it's not his job to like buddy Willis along. Like, they'll learn together, like they'll work together, he'll get familiar with the teammates. Maybe it wasn't so like much
like he's pushing him to the side type of thing.
To the side, yeah. But like more so like, we're competing with each other, but like, yeah, at the same time, it goes back to like, he could have like been like, oh yeah, he's a good kid or whatever. Like, I'm excited for him to be here. Like, whatever. But
yeah,
he could have maybe just meant it a different way, but it didn't really come off that way, as I mentioned.
Some tough love out of the start for Malik Willis. Poor guy has to wait until, what was it, the third round or whatever it was to get drafted, when he was maybe projected as a first round guy. And then
projected by me to be the
I was going to say 6th
pick.
overall, right? Yeah. I mean, that would have made sense going to Carolina. I agreed with you when we did the mock draft stuff last week that made a ton of sense. There were a couple of teams that they could have been taken before the pick he was, but apparently teams did not see it that way. I think Pittsburgh, I feel like I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit here. We're going to do probably football stuff last, but like you can make a case Pittsburgh maybe should have taken him over Kenny Pickett. I think they maybe more so did that just because he was the hometown guy. Like, I feel like a lot of people in their mock drafts had Willis as the better quarterback, but I don't know. I'm not, like I said, too big on the mock draft. You more so than I am, but
yeah, I love the Kenny Pickett fit more so than some might, but like, I also hate it because I don't like the Steelers. So
fair enough.
On the Bruins, I wish we had current
so
things
heavy,
to talk about, but we do not. it's tough right now. It's not good.
Mm-hmm.
I was really confident coming into this game. One of my coworkers who's in the stream right now, I practically guaranteed to win. Like I felt good. I thought they were going to win tonight, but right now they're not off to a good start. But I mean, they got down and scored one in game one, so maybe they can do that again and hopefully get a better end result. It's very early, so that's good.
Yep.
But this is different against a bad team, but Carolina is just not a bad team. So it's unfortunate, and they got a big hole. It's only 2 goals. The numbers, it's not a huge number, but it's big in the playoffs against a good team. So yeah, but to get to game one first, it wasn't good. It wasn't. They started good, but they weren't good enough overall. They lose 5-1 in game one. Linus Ullmark makes 20 saves and 24 shots. Bruins outshoot the Hurricanes 36-25. It was the first time they played each other since February 10th. Frederik Andersen, who's hurt right now, and Antti Raanta
went out in this game.
Took home the William M. Jennings Trophy, as my coworker calls the Bruins a fraud team in the Twitter chat. Not very nice.
I don't know if I go that far yet. I mean, this is
he doesn't
didn't expect this to be an easy series.
So,
all right, that's fair.
Yeah, he doesn't know anything. So they took home the William M. Jennings Trophy this year for having played a minimum of 25 games with the team with the fewest goals scored against based on regular season play. And back to the early start, like Raanta wasn't super sharp early on.
No, he was shaky. That's like I thought the Bruins got off to just as good as a start as you could. When we talked about it, we were texting during the game that they just didn't really have any puck luck, it seemed, because they were like a couple early that Raanta was pretty squeaky on. Just they couldn't. And like again, it's gonna sound bad, but like typical Bruins fashion, they just don't have a guy close enough to the net to knock one in. I think it was Coyle that had probably the best chance. I can't remember what defenseman it was for the Canes that knocked the puck out of off the goal line pretty much. But yeah, bad puck luck for the Bruins to start. They outplay Carolina for the majority of the first period, ended up down because of just, again, crappy puck luck and just can't catch a break here and there.
Yeah, Danny's being a dick in the chat.
Now, I was going to say,
now he's calling me a fraud. Like, that's not very nice. And I know he doesn't mean that.
Emotions are running high right now. It's a tough night for the Bruins. Like
maybe he's a fraud in the sense that he acts like he doesn't like the Bruins, but he's really just trembling right now in anger.
Mm-hmm. He's taking out his frustration on somebody else.
Did Ullmark just whack someone?
I don't know. Forbert's skating around like he's hurt or something, or he took a shot, but
yeah, he looks a little hampered right now, to say the least. Yeah, but the Bruins couldn't capitalize, luckily for Raanta with some, shaky rebounds and stuff like that here and there. He ended the first period without letting up a goal, and Seth Jarvis and Nino Niederreiter added goals to make him more comfortable. Things really shifted for me when Haula took that penalty late in the first, because I thought the Bruins had pretty good control early on. They had heavy shot advantage. They had a good first shift of the game. It looked good for the Marchand line, Marchand, Bergeron, DeBrusk, but it wasn't a great game overall. Carolina was ready for them, and it wasn't great. DeBrusk, I'd say, overall probably had the best game of the three of them for the most part, but there's a lot not to like, but there was somewhat still hope going into this game that's somewhat been squashed now. Yeah, but the things really shifted for me with the Haula penalty. The building got loud. Carolina started playing faster, and they took over. And I'm not blaming this on Haula. It was just unfortunate. That's when things really turned. Bergeron took a penalty as well. Took a penalty.
Yeah, that was
Stahl toe picked. If you look at
a little
it in
weak,
slow-mo, but the refs don't have that slow-mo. They need some sort of like VR thing they can like deploy up and down that just like gives them replay. They can look at it or like have like little goggles they can put on, and some like Spy Kid shit, some like Junie Cortez like come down from his eye.
Good pull, good reference.
Yeah, the little the glasses with all the different lenses.
Yep.
I don't know, man, but it was just really unfortunate to see that Bergeron call. Just kind of one that like is a kick in the pants. You're like, oh, come on, really?
Mhm.
I think, there was a chance it wouldn't have been called if the ref wasn't so close too. And if Stahl didn't go down as hard. But, if you
Yep.
look at it closely, he did toe pick. It's just unfortunate, but luckily the Bruins weren't scored on as a result. But,
Mhm.
those two power plays really help swing momentum a little bit and sometimes a lot for Carolina. And Seth Jarvis scores on a tip on a shot from Jacob Slavin. Just an unfortunate, like it was a great tip. Like I'm not gonna take anything away from Seth Jarvis, but it looked like one that there was like pretty much no chance they would tip home, and they did. So that's not great. Would like to see Lindholm be a little more tough with Svechnikov behind the net. Before the goal happened, they wrapped it around the zone to Slavin. Slavin put the shot out front for Jarvis. But like I'm not gonna blame Lindholm there. I just wish he was a little tougher on him, but not a great start, but it didn't really get any better.
Well, I think it was a
outside the Hall
decent
goal.
It was a good start. Like I said, because I feel like Boston had Carolina at least maybe the first 10 or so minutes of the game on their heels. They look like the Bruins look like the faster team, like you said. They take a couple of penalties, one iffy with the Bergeron one that gives Carolina some life. It gets some life back in the building, and then obviously you have the 2 goals that occur again. Like I'll say it right now. I didn't think Omar played that bad, and there was some people that were kind of calling for his head after game 1 to put Swayman in there. Like I wouldn't go that far. You said it, the first goal was a tip that he really didn't have a chance on. The third goal was a 2-on-1 that we'll get to in a couple of minutes that he had no chance on because Matt Grzelcyk screwed him over on that one. I'm sure we'll talk about him in the game he had because it was not a good game. And it was a great game for the Grzelcyk haters, which a buddy of mine is, and was out in full force the other night. And I can't say I disagree with him now at this point with how Grzelcyk's played. But yeah, there were a couple times with Bruins. You said it, the Hall goal, it seems like the Bruins took some momentum back. They had a good chance. I think it was Hall again right after that, where it was the one where he rang the post, and that I think led to the Teravainen goal. But yeah, a couple of instances where Bruins have some good shifts, can't get anything out of it. And like I said, no puck luck. Carolina comes right back down and puts the puck in the back of the net, which obviously you don't want to see happen.
Yeah. You never want to let up the first goal in any series at the start of the playoffs. And I wasn't like ready to call it after that, obviously, but I was like, oh, come on, scoring the first goal, especially on the road, would have been nice. The Bruins, in recent years aren't really used to be on the road in the first round. They get in a huge scrum right now. We didn't see much scrumming.
No, there's a lot more chippiness in this game.
Outside of Frederick as the game went on. Trocheck is like getting in the face of a ref. Svechnikov is tied up with Lindholm. McAvoy is going out with Aho. Coyle's on the ground without a helmet on. Chaos is ensuing. This is emotion, and that's what I like.
Yeah, that's good.
It can go either way. It can go either way when you come back from intermission. Who wants to take control of the game and who doesn't, or if it's going to be a chess match. But love to see Lindholm get involved and get some fire going because they need to score as soon as possible. It sounds obvious, but like Carolina is one of those teams out there. There are good teams, and then there are good teams that can bury you quickly. And Carolina is one of them. Florida is one of them.
What Colorado, they did in game 1.
Calgary at times, like they're one of those teams, and yeah, they did it in game 1, and they could do it again here if the Bruins aren't careful. The second goal, Carlo and Grzelcyk need to do more to clear Stahl and Niederreiter out, or not Niederreiter. I actually messed this up. Niederreiter scored Netchas,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, Netchas or Netchas or Nichas. I've heard 89 pronunciations. I thought it was Nikas when he was drafted. Yeah, you got to do better to clear them from out in front of the net. Niederreiter just wires one past Omar. He couldn't completely see it, but I saw some people blaming him for that goal. It looked like it was on him at first, but I guess it really wasn't. In retrospect, but have to imagine this is part of the reason the Grzelcyk and Carlo pairing got split up.
I would say so. I think too. Grzelcyk being a -3 in the game, but -4 potentially if that first goal was allowed.
I'll say this.
That might have something to do with it.
Real quick, I've talked about plus minus being, case by case, subjective, but it stands out more in the playoffs, especially like if it's like I don't know. I'm not even gonna get into this like hypothetical scenarios. It's really not worth it. But I mean, -3, dude. Like,
Oh, I'll try to put it in perspective. I feel like I get what you're trying to get at. It stands out more, I feel like, too, if it's a guy that you obviously you need to rely on, and the guy that you think and we think that you've been able to, or you should be able to rely on in Grizzlick as your second pairing defenseman. And when he has as bad as a night as he does, and again, is the reason for the third goal that again killed momentum for the Bruins, or one of the reasons why, like, that's, I think, why it stands out more.
Yeah, it really was a momentum killer. Just to pile on. The Bruins are fighting again. This is getting really chippy. Jarvis, of all people, the smallest player on the ice, or the smallest player on both teams, the 19-year-old, is going at it with Howell big time right now. Good, man. Like, this is fine. This is fine.
Well, that's what you'd like to see. You'd like to see some sort of fire.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather see this than not. And I know the people that would be like, Bruins need an enforcer, dude. Bruins should have got Ryan Reeves before the Rangers. Yeah, this will appease them. So, no offense, sort of full offense to the people and that might be watching that are like that. Don't take it personally, though. You'll get over it. Yeah, just 2-0 on the road. Like, game one, not good.
Well, it's the same spot they were in 2 nights ago, except just one less period.
Yeah,
so
I was
like
actually talking
there is
about
more time.
2 nights ago, going back to the game. But yeah, in both games,
Yeah. Sorry.
But this was no worries. I just pointed that out. This time around, it's in the first period. Game one was in the second period. But they took the lead. But thankfully, Taylor Hall, gave us some hope. McAvoy takes the puck deep. Howell grabs it behind the net, sends a quick pass out to Hall. Tough shot for Hall. It's not like the most perfect one-timer, and he buries it. It wasn't the strongest shot, but it got past Ranta, who screened a little bit. Take it. It works, but unfortunately, things weren't perfect for Hall after that. I'm not blaming this on him, but he misses the net. The puck rolls around. Rolls up a Grizzlick stick on the pinch, gets past him. Trocheck takes it, finds Teravainen. I think Omar could have had this, but like, it's a really tough save to make at the same time. So I'm not going to outright blame him. But in the moment, I'm like, oh, come on, really? Like, I need a save there. But, as you watch it in slow-mo a little more, and even in real time, you're kind of 50-50 on it. Defense has got to be better. Grizzlick's got to win the pinch, ideally, or have a better effort. And,
I just feel like have a better decision-making process, even especially in that case, like, you have to, I feel like, know that you're going to get that puck if you're making that sort of a pinch at that point in the game. Like I said, with all the momentum that's going on, like,
this is the backbreaker. It was a tough 2-on-1 for Carlo to stop too. Teravainen and Snipes, one of the more underrated shooters in the league, I'd say. Yeah, this is the one where it felt like it was over. May the 4th be with you too, Matt. See you in the chat. Yeah, just not great. 4th goal, Carolina gets to the neutral zone easily. Pass is forced to play defense with McAvoy being the only defenseman out there. Gets beat after the initial poke check he made that was successful. And Trocheck banks it off Omar's shoulder and like, this is the one I blame on Omar. Like, Pasta made the initial play. Sure, he could have made another play, but it also hurts that the Bruins didn't have 2 defensemen on the ice. But yeah, it's partially just like an absurd. I almost said obscene. I almost combined words again.
Created a word.
Yeah, I'm known to do that every once in a while. But yeah, he banks it in. It's just like, it's a tough break, but like, you gotta be better on the post there.
Yeah, that's when you got to get over sooner or close it off more than he did.
Close it off better. Like, it's just like, if the 3-1 goal wasn't enough, you're like, all right, it's over there. Like, it's official. Then an empty netter, game over.
I didn't get the empty even. Sorry to cut you off, but I shut the game. I was at work. I shut the game off after 4-1 when my friend told me it was 5-1. I'm like, was it an empty? Why even empty the net at that point? Like, I mean, I get you're trying to. I guess there was 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left when it happened to the empty net goal. So I guess maybe you think you get a chance of coming back, but like at that point, I feel like it's just like regroup and try to figure something out for tonight. Like I just didn't see the need to have him get another easy goal on the board. But I'm not Bruce Cassidy. I'm not the ones making the decisions for the Bruins, so that's where we differ, I guess.
Just sending out a tweet here. Just doing it all today. Just absolutely buzzing. I wish the Bruins were.
Take a page out of the air book, yeah.
Yeah, but missed opportunities. Both teams were 0 for 3 on the power play. The Bruins' dreadful power play stretch continues. It's got to be like one. They're past like 43, 42, 44 now. Like, it's just brutal. It's some of the worst power play hockey I've seen in general. Never mind, like, just Bruins specific. Like, it's so bad. Even with Pastrnak back, it just hasn't changed all that much. Like, in back, I forgot to mention this when we were talking about it. Like, this goes back to the article we mentioned last week from Harman Dayal of The Athletic. It's not a good start for the, Grizzly writing the narrative of, him being worse in the playoffs than the regular season. It's
on full display, which
I don't
full display on the biggest stage, which is not a good combination.
I don't get it. It's really disheartening because I love Matt Grizzly, I do, but he's had a good season overall, but he's also had more tough moments than we're accustomed to him having, I think. And it's really unfortunate, but I think the idea of splitting up the defensive pairs, where we've talked about it so many times, how Grizzly and McAvoy are elite together. At the same time, you'd be like, with the way Grizzly's playing right now, do you want him on the top pairing?
Yeah, I heard that argument today.
Shield him a little bit. Maybe this gets him in his element. There's a lot of ways you can look at it, but at the same time, as I have put in the outline here, it's a small sample size, but Connor Ryan mentioned this on Twitter. I believe it was yesterday. During the regular season, this doesn't certainly help, but maybe they can kindle, get something going here in the first round of the playoffs. The Lindholm and Carlo return wasn't too great playing together. They played 20-25 of 5-on-5 ice time. 71.43% of offensive zone face-off percentage of their deployment. The Bruins were outscored 2-0 and were outshot 17-6. So, I get where people were coming from, like, oh, not loving the defensive pairing, but I get the idea. It could also just be like a first period thing if they didn't like it or they want to go back. It could also just be like Cassidy trying to give different looks and not give them too many looks of certain defensive pairings, and maybe
change it up a little bit.
Brendan Moore and the coaching staff of the Hurricanes and the team on the edge a little bit for different looks. But
something clearly got into Lindholm. Just we said when we were trying to watch it and talk at the same time, like every sort of chippiness or the little fights afterwards, he seemed to be right in the middle of a couple of them. So that was at least
that's good.
Yeah, I thought he was borderline non-existent in game one. He had maybe one good rush the entire game, and then was kind of just really out there. Like I didn't really see him do anything substantial out there. Really, he's not really his profile from what I get to be a big, tough, physical guy. But tonight it seems like he's kind of trying to set that tone at least, which is good because like we just kind of talked about, you need that, especially now more than ever, down 2-0. You need some sort of energy and some sort of fire, and to have him do that and step up and maybe get out of his comfort zone a little bit. Maybe I don't know how much you put into that, if it's maybe playing with Carlo a little bit more or just if that's just how he wants to go about tonight. But like I said, something clearly has gotten to him, which is good to see.
Yeah, he knows too. Like when he got here, he talked about, it's exciting to be back in the playoffs. He loves playing in the playoffs, and he knows the intensity of it. He played in the playoffs, decent amount, I believe, in Anaheim. I'm not sure, the exact numbers off the top of my head, but this is a guy that you need to step up in those physical aspects. 6'4", 216, not like an overwhelming, like big bruiser guy, but he can hit, he's one of those guys that's bigger and he picks his spots well, I think. Not a guy that's going to bury you every time, but he picks his spots. He wants to make a big hit every once in a while, make a timely hit, but he also doesn't want to put himself out of position or take a penalty. I think he's a very sound defenseman in that regard. Hope I don't jinx that. But
I was going to say, watching the two replays of the two goals for a one little bright spot, the Lindholm-Carlo defensive pairing was the only defensive pairing that didn't give up a goal. Clifton
That
and
works.
Forbort were out there for the first one. McAvoy and Grizzly. I mean, that puck was deflected a couple times on the second goal, but they were out there for the second one. So far, so good for Lindholm and Carlo. If you
Yeah, I'll
want to take
take it.
some small positives out of this game so far, if there have been any.
Yeah, I mean, and going back to last game, like Carlo had some tougher moments as the game went on, but like
Mm-hmm.
Carlo played better than I probably expected him to for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But we still want Carlo to become the guy, the Carlo of old.
Yeah, the lockdown shutdown. And I mean, we were talking about that during the game. There was one play I texted you, or I can't remember who it was. It might have been Stahl that he did it to, where he had the kind of the one-on-one and he batted the puck back to him twice or knocked it down. I'm like, that looked like the vintage kind of old Brandon Carlo that we're used to, a big shutdown defenseman. And then just as everything kind of went south as the game went on, he kind of got lumped into, everyone not really playing all that well. But there were signs, I thought, in game one that he looked like, or showed some glimpses or some glimmers of the old Carlo, which was good to see.
Yeah, but it's been a long road for Brandon Carlo.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe playing with Lindholm is just what he needs, though. We'll see what happens. But I don't know. It's short sample size, like we said, though. So, we're just going to have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone who didn't know, they did change up, going back to looking at the lineup for tonight's game, they did change up the second and first defensive pairings: Grizzly, McAvoy, Lindholm, Carlo. Otherwise, no changes. But not off to a great start with this new, defensive core, but we're not blaming them, super specifically right now.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of, the goals, it's not like they've been a train wreck all period, but they could be better, but I don't know. The Bruins showed good glimpses in the first period, but, there's no one crazy to blame right now. Omar,
Mm-hmm.
not the best goal it's led up, but like, I don't know. The second one was kind of tough. Like, it was a good tip, but I don't know. I was expecting a save there. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna blame him, but
If they lose this game, do you go to Swayman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends on the margin though.
Okay.
I don't know though. It's so hard to say because like you ideally want to extend this series to 7, but you might not be, guaranteed that luxury. And in a 7-game series, I think you'd love to go like Allmark 5, Swayman 2 if I were making the decisions, but I don't know, man. Swayman, the home crowd, getting the shot could be a huge, part of a hopeful Game 3 win on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to monitor that. It depends on how the game ends, but for anyone who's not watching the game, Antti Raanta was hurt with a minor collision with Pastrnak. He had some blood, but it looked like he buried him, like Ryan Millered him at first. Not quite,
Quick glance, yeah.
Or Ryan Millered him, Lucic'd him, I should say, because Ryan Miller wasn't the one hitting. But, yeah, I mean, Raanta was bleeding. He hasn't come back to the game. Peter, I'm just going to call him Peter or Petor. Kochetkov, this Russian goalie, I believe he was a 3rd-round pick a couple of years ago. Might be one of these next Russian stud goalies that we've seen a wave out in the last few years. We know Vasilevsky's in the league, but you got Igor Shesterkin in New York, Ilya Sorokin with the Islanders, also in New York, not in the playoffs. And then you got Yaroslav Askarov, who's a Predators prospect, high draft pick 2 years ago, who actually just joined the Milwaukee Admirals. So maybe we'll see him in the next couple of years, maybe the next Russian stud. Right-handed catcher, one of the wilder goalies I've ever watched. He's got a very explosive style, but Kochetkov, we're getting a glimpse of him now, could be one of these next great stud Russian goalies of the new wave in the league. And he's in the game now. Bruins down 2-0. I'm already like drawing a blank on the first goal. What happened on the first goal? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on it.
I can't remember now either. The second one, like I said, was a deflection.
So much going on.
Yeah.
I know I just lost.
First one might have been like a cross, not really a cross crease.
Yeah,
but
it was
like
the cross crease. It was fast. Yeah. Yeah, that one was just, Clifton can't get a stick on it. Forward's, holding his line. I wouldn't really blame Forward there. But yeah, I don't know, maybe Forward tries to get a stick in the lane there, but I don't know, not a great start.
No, I mean, I don't. It's just
2 goals regardless.
Again, it's not great, but again, I really don't think the story of the series has been the Bruins goaltending so far. I mean, they're down 2-0. Again, it's early, so maybe they come out and have some sort of offensive explosion in the next 2 periods. But like right now, the fact that you've played 80 minutes and have 1 goal so far, if my math's correct. Quick math, not great at it. You've again, first line so far tonight, you said they had the one good shift in game one, non-existent after that. This game really haven't noticed. Bergeron took another penalty, but other than that, haven't really noticed anybody. Like, you need to get something out of your top guys. And other than Hall so far, it's like it's the series so far for the Bruins has been Hall and McAvoy that have shown up. Like I said, Lindholm's played well, at least from what I've seen tonight so far, the quick couple glimpses I've gotten. But like, other than that, you really haven't seen the explosiveness, especially from the first line that you thought you were going to get and that we've been so accustomed to seeing. And really, I mean, the only really, I'm not saying that they're all not trying, play out there, but like the couple times I've seen it, it's been the fourth line that's given you the most energy and the most chances, it seems like. And other than that, like, it hasn't been a lot, which has been, I think, one of the more frustrating things.
Yeah. Damn, I'm trying to summon up
Find some positive.
Right now,
yeah.
They're just not giving me a whole lot of reason right now.
Well, okay. Well, on that, because we talked about this off air, if let's say again they lose this game going into game 3, now they're down 0-2, would you make changes to the lines at all for the offense? I think we talked about you might switch up that fourth line a little bit just to put some more scoring touch on it. But other than that, like, what else could you really do to maybe shake these guys a little bit?
I got a few points for you.
Okay.
Depending on how the margin goes, I would put Swayman in game 3 if they lose.
Okay.
If Swayman's good, you keep him in game 4.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go back to Ullmark or Swayman plays bad, put Ullmark back in game 4.
Okay.
If you need to make a change, I get the people who want Foligno out. I don't think they're going to take Foligno out. They didn't do it in the regular season. They respect him too much as a veteran. I think that's kind of the angle. He was all right in game 1, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't think he was bad. Yeah.
He played hard, for the most part. I think he had some decent hits, but, still not a guy that's, making a giant impact on the game. I'm not trying to act like Foligno is awesome or anything. But,
yeah.
He's a guy, they value for certain reasons. I'm taking Tomas Nosek out of the lineup. The goal drought's gone on too long. January 2nd, he's not relying on for goals, but, how much can you justify some penalty killing and face-off work? I think you can
find that from other guys. Yeah.
The thing with shaking out the fourth line is right now you have Bleed and Wagner, and if you want to put Wagner in, he doesn't, have a ton of familiarity with these guys, if much at all. I don't know how they've been moving him into the mix in practice, but maybe it's Anton Bleed. Maybe you put Bleed on the right, Lazar in the middle. Sounds kind of awkward,
for something,
but, whatever. Anton Bleed will play hard wherever he plays. Like, you can put him on defense, and he probably not know how to play, and then he'll just play on the forecheck like a forward.
Okay.
Obviously joking, but the guy's just a maniac. He's the guy that wants the forecheck, and if he's in the lineup in the playoffs, to my knowledge, I don't think he's ever played a playoff game. I'm almost positive of that. He would go absolutely ballistic at the opportunity. Would
you
Wagner,
want?
Wagner is the proven commodity.
Okay.
So if you want Wagner, Nosek's got to be the odd man out.
Okay. Well, I was gonna ask, do you want a guy like that, like a Bleed type, or would you want? Again, like if they struggle to score again tonight, I feel like wouldn't you want more so a guy that can? You would think like a McLaughlin that might be able to put the puck in the back of the net.
He's in the minors right now. So
okay. So never mind. Yeah. So it's just Bleed and Wagner you have to choose from then.
On McLaughlin for a sec, I think this was kind of like the plan with McLaughlin. Like, they give him a trial run and then
get his feet wet
for Providence for the Calder Cup playoffs.
Okay.
And this is next season, but Mark McLaughlin's gonna be on the team next year. At this point, I'll be shocked if he's not on the team next year. So, you're not you shouldn't be screaming and crying about, McLaughlin not being out there. I'd love him in the lineup right now, believe me, but, maybe if they want him that bad, they'll call him back up. So we'll see what happens there. I wouldn't be opposed to it. If I were making the decision, I like what Nick Foligno brings in the locker room. I think he honestly tries hard most of the time, but it just doesn't lead to much impact. I'm taking him and Nosek out, and I'm putting Bleed with Lazar in the middle and Wagner on the right.
Wagner on the right. Gotcha.
It'd be so good to see Wagner back in the lineup. I felt so bad for him when he was sent down, but maybe with that, what is it, 1.4, 1.3 he makes? Maybe they did that for cap flexibility in part, and then brought him back up, of course, when the salary cap doesn't matter anymore. Wagner played in that game against Toronto late in the regular season and had 11 hits in 15 minutes and 57 seconds.
Flying around the ice.
He wants to be back out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Chris Wagner. He had a down year. That fourth line had a down year last year, but I like him. I don't think there's any reason to dislike Chris Wagner's game, outside of, his struggles last season. But he didn't take it, to heart. Like, he didn't let it bother him from the sound of things. He had a productive year in Providence. He was I think top 3 on their team in goals scored. He's just a good veteran, and as much as it sucks, he's a good veteran to have for those young guys. They were a pretty young forward group down in Providence, so it's good to have him down there. And for him at this point, I hope he gets a shot in the playoffs, because it'd be so good to see him back. And I think he'd play really well, because he'd have a lot of pent up energy to expend. As I'm looking at this stream right now, and the Bruins have 4 guys in the penalty box.
What the hell?
So that's
probably the scrum at the end of the period.
That type of thing is funny in a playoff game if you're winning, or if it's in a regular season game, and you just see 9 people in the penalty box, create a crazy game like the Bruins and Stars, that crazy brawl. But yeah, not right now, not great. But there's options to make changes, but I don't know if they will. But there's also the chance they come back in this game, so we'll see what happens. I obviously hope they do.
Yep.
But Bruins, they do need to pick it up right now. That is an absolute fact. Playoff brackets. Of course, we're late.
Little bit, yeah, a game or 2.
We're recording on Wednesdays, but let's run through our playoff brackets. I'll go first. We'll
okay.
go round by round. I have Colorado in 5. That's looking pretty good. They smoked Nashville.
They did. It's very surprising.
5-0 after 1. It's UC Saros. They don't have UC Saros the first 2 games at minimum. He could be back game 3. He's amazing. And they're a good team, but they're not an overwhelmingly strong team. They get the second wild card. Colorado is juiced. They're more deep than they've ever been. It's Colorado in 5. I think Nashville squeaked one out at home, but it's Colorado in 5. They're going to win this series, no doubt. It's a lock. St. Louis in 7. I think St. Louis has matched up really well. I think, coming into the series, there was something they've won 11 of the last 14 against Minnesota. Minnesota's really good, but they shut them out in game 1. I do like Minnesota. They have the best player in the series in Kirill Kaprizov, but I think St. Louis is going to edge it out. I think Minnesota's going to give them a series. Minnesota's very deep. St. Louis is very deep, but I'm giving it to St. Louis. I like Minnesota's defense better. On the flip side, I like the goaltending in Minnesota when they're on. I like Ville Husso. I don't like Jordan Binnington. We know this, but Ville Husso's a starter, and Carolina just scored again.
Yep.
On 5-on-3.
Might be time to pull Omar.
Yeah, it's a 5-on-3, but I'm not gonna be upset if they pull Omar.
You need to do something to get some sort of energy. Do something. They look dead right now.
I don't know if I missed something, but why is there a 5-on-3 out of all of that? How did Carolina?
That's what I was trying to watch the replay, and they right at the end of the period, the last face-off, Carlo got into it with somebody for Carolina, so I'm assuming they threw him in the box. Coyle was in there for some reason, but I didn't see what he did. If there was a penalty that he was on before, so I don't know why the Bruins. Who's in there now? It's Holla and Coyle still. So yeah, I don't know what. Oh, Holla was getting into it. We said that at the end of the period, so that's not that surprising that he went. But I don't know what Coyle did. To maybe he's just the guy that's serving in the extra penalty. I don't know what.
I don't know. McAvoy unintentionally screened Omar there. I mean, Omar could have had it, I guess, a little bit, but I'm just another one. I'm not going to outright blame on Omar. There's no real reason to. It's a 5-on-3 too. You're probably going to get scored on, on the average 5-on-3.
Not great.
It's just Taylor Hall coming in. So it's wide. You can't mess up there if you're Taylor Hall. I'm sorry. You just can't. You got to take that wide. He got, I think he got nervous there. He let the puck go too soon. He made the move too soon. What's going on here?
So according to the app, they got Coyle for roughing with 7 seconds left. Niederreiter on the same thing with 7 seconds. And then at the 20-minute mark, Holla went for roughing, Carlo went for roughing, and Jarvis went for roughing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess that's why there were 4 Bruins, but
that's dumb.
yeah.
it's hard to expect refs to ever figure that type of scenario out perfectly, but the Lightning are up 1-0 on the Maple Leafs. At least that's good.
Yeah, something to root for.
It's just really disheartening, dude. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Calgary over Dallas. Calgary, they only won game one last 1-0 in game one last night, but they're kind of making me regret picking Florida in my bracket. Spoiler alert. Calgary in 5. They're way better than Dallas. I like a lot of what Dallas does, and I like a lot of players on that team, but Calgary's just juice. They have a lot to play for. They got Goudreau. Well, they got Sean Monahan out for the season. He hasn't really been an impact player because he's dealing with a hip injury, but they're missing him. I'm sure they want to, win for him. He's been around there for a while. Goudreau's a free agent. Kachuk's a restricted free agent. Mangiapane's a restricted free agent. Oliver Shillington's a restricted free agent. Nikita Zadorov, who's even been solid for them, I feel like for the most part, is an unrestricted free agent. And I think they're only projected to have around 18 million in cap space. So they have a lot to play for because they might have a much different team next year. Calle Yarncroke's a free agent as well, who they acquired at the trade deadline. Calgary's nasty. This might be their best shot they have for years to win the cup. And with the way Florida played solid last night, but with the way they played overall and they lost, I'm a little nervous. But I think Florida, if there's a year for them to make a cup run, it might be this year too. They got Giroux, they got Joe Thornton looking for their first cups, a stacked squad, a team that made history this year in some regards. We'll see what happens there, but we'll get to Florida in a second. Edmonton over LA. LA won game one, which is classic poison for
Edmonton
fans.
Yeah. Yep.
Like they got to be losing their minds right now. LA's without Drew Doughty for the rest of the year, and they still beat Edmonton in game one. I have Edmonton in 5, so they need to win 4 in a row.
4 straight coming up. Yeah.
4 straight coming up. You heard it here first. But yeah, I don't know. This looks like a maybe 6 or 7 game series at this point. If LA keeps that up, they were scrappy. And it comes back to one of the weaknesses for Edmonton, up and down all year, but goaltending can be a real weakness for them. And Mike Smith had some questionable moments last night. He's also 40. So yeah, not great. The Western Conference first round for you, please.
It is the same, just 1 or 2 maybe different games that you have. I also have Colorado over Nashville in 5. Colorado is the overall better team, like you said, and with Saros out, that's going to hurt Nashville.
Hold on, dude. Pause. Did you just see Frederick's penalty?
Frederick's penalty, yeah, for interference.
That's not a penalty you call when the team is down. They're down 3-0. You're calling that? That was barely anything.
It's a little weak.
Oh my god, the penalty calling's been so weird this series. It's been so weird. Like you really have to call that.
They score here, you're gonna see Swayman, I think.
Yeah, you are. They are.
With no fault of I figured that was going right to who is that? Sveshnikov. I thought that was going right to him on that. But again, you're gonna have to do something to shake it up because they look just as flat as maybe we've seen them all season right now. Don't look good. Yeah, the rest of my Western Conference bracket, I have St. Louis, same as you, over Minnesota in 7, Calgary over Dallas in 5, and then Edmonton. I have that series going 6. That obviously looks good now with the first game upset for the Kings, but I have Edmonton pulling that series out in 6.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's a year for McDavid and Draisaitl to go completely sicko mode, maybe carry them a little bit through a round or two. It could be this one because they're obviously still playing amazing. Draisaitl at 55 and 55. McDavid had 123 points. 55 and 55 is just lunacy to me. McDavid, more so the assists because he's just an unreal playmaker, but no schmuck when it comes to scoring goals and highlight reel goals at that oftentimes as well. Yeah, we're on the same page though for the most part in the West. I got Florida over Washington in 5. Another one where they need to win 4 in a row now because they lose the first game. But Florida, like, I get what people say about Florida. They're the Florida Panthers. They're not a hockey team, hockey market, whatever. But they're stacked this year. They're loaded up at the deadline. Like, I even think Ben Sherratt, who we kind of crapped on at the deadline a little bit, has been solid for them for the most part. They get Aaron Ekblad back. They're super deep. Bobrovsky's had a fantastic season, but as the Spit and Chicklets guys said, I didn't know this. He has like a 13-3 record in the playoffs coming into this, Bobrovsky, which is wild to me. I didn't know it was that bad.
Mm.
But I don't know. I felt like this was the team that could, make it happen. But it's still one game, so maybe they will. Um, they're just juice. Claude Giroux's playing for a lot. He's fitting well, really well there. They're stacked. I love that team. They're so fun to watch. Hirdo Barkov. I love Patrick Hornqvist in the playoffs. I think he takes it to another level. He's such a bastard to play against. They're really deep, and Aaron Ekblad coming back is huge. Mackenzie Weegar kind of screwed them last night. Bad turnover. Ovi gets it up to Kuznetsov. Kuznetsov scores. Does the Eagle celebration, and Ovi screams at his fellow countryman, Sergei Bobrovsky, just screams right in his face after the goal. Like, that was disrespectful. But yeah, that's not good news for Florida. If Washington gets hot now, Tom Wilson is a game time decision. He scored in that game, but he also got hurt. So that's something to monitor for game 2. But I don't know. I think Florida is the way better team. Washington's good, but I think Florida can crack their goaltending. Nothing super against Vanchuk or Samsonov, but they're not the strongest tandem in the world. I think they're beatable, and Florida can't lose in the first round, dude. Like, they're way too talented.
That would be bad. Yeah.
And if they make it to the Cup final, like, and play Calgary or Colorado, it could be one of the better Cup finals of all time. I think, at least in the last decade or 2 decades. Like, it's just so much talent between both teams is absurd. Toronto, Tampa Bay, another one. Toronto wins game 1. I picked Tampa Bay in 5. I don't know.
Putting a lot of pressure on some of these teams.
I know, but Tampa's up right now. They got a lot to play for to go for the 3-peat. It's a very rare feat. I think the last time it was done, maybe, I think if I remember correctly, it was the Islanders in the 80s when they won 4 in a row, I believe it was. Tampa's still really good. I think they'd be even more of a wagon if they still had that third line intact that they had famously in the playoffs. Barclay Goodrow, Yanni Gourde, and Blake Coleman, but they do not anymore. They're all gone. So yeah, they rebuilt it with Nick Paul, and they had Ross Colton. They got Brandon Hagel, but it didn't turn out well. In game 1, they lost 5-0 to the Leafs. Matthews and Marner were fantastic. Jack Campbell pitched the shutout. If the Leafs play like this, they're getting out of the first round. There's just no two ways about it. This is the year if they play like this. As much as I think they could collapse, I mean, Austin Matthews had the best season of his career. He's become the best all-around player in the league this season. People still talk about McDavid, but best all-around player this year was Austin Matthews. He didn't have as many points as McDavid, but he dominated the game in all 3 facets. He was just a monster this year. Scored 60 goals. I actually heard that Steven Stamkos was asked like a summer or 2 summers ago who he thought the next person to score 60 would be, because Stamkos was the last to do it. He said Austin Matthews, and he was right. So
See the future.
Yeah, I mean, Marner's fantastic. He scored his first playoff goal in 16 games, ironically, because he's number 16 as well. Matthews was fantastic. They got into the mix a little bit physically. Morgan Riley got his ass kicked by Pat Maroon. Not sure what he was thinking going up against Pat Maroon. It's just a losing battle for Morgan Riley. But they speed bagged Tampa, so maybe I end up being wrong. Maybe Toronto breaks the first round curse this year. That would be a wild scene to see them do it against the 2 in a row time Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. But
that would be something.
Yeah, I mean, they look poised for it after game 1, but like I said, Tampa's up 1-0 right now. We'll see what happens. I got the Bruins in 6 over Carolina.
Can I change my pick?
Yeah, it really. We're not changing anything here, guys. We posted things on Monday. We're not changing anything here. We can speculate on certain things, but we weren't gonna come in here and be like, oh shit, like some of these series look a little dicey. Maybe we should change our brackets, see if nobody notices. But we're not doing that. We're honest guys. We're stand-up guys.
I can't pull a Stephen A. Smith and at halftime of the Celtics game where he made the comment where it was on First Take the day after game 1 of the Celtics game where he was like, I picked the Celtics to win this series, and at halftime I wanted to change my pick. I picked the Bruins to win this series. Spoiler for mine. Can I, after a game and a period, change my pick? Like, not looking great right now. So
yeah, it's not. I wanted to go Bruins at 7, but I felt like one of the biggest things in this for me was the fact that Carolina hasn't seen the Bruins since February 10th. I thought the Bruins would have a better team to match up against them than they did in the regular season. Now it's 3-0, so they've been outscored. What is it? Fucking.
It's in the 20s now, right? It's got to be
24 to 2 now.
I believe so.
I think it's 24 to 2. That's just complete lunacy.
1 5-on-5 goal, 1 power play goal.
Losing Anderson has not hurt them
Mm-hmm.
so far. Hopefully that changes. I'm going to game 3, so I hope that changes for game 3.
Oh, you brought the Celtics luck when you went to that game, so
that game was sick. Oh my god. We'll talk about the Celtics in a little while. Yeah, I had Bruins in 6. I thought they were gonna get it done. I thought they could rally around the fact that it's Donnie Del Negro's last year. They want to play for him. They had that whole surprise for him with the golf cart. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Donnie Del Negro has been around forever. He's an absolute legend. I think I could safely say, without being in league circles in depth, like he's one of the more well-respected, guys in that realm, like the trainers and all that stuff in the league. He's a true pros pro. He always has been. They love him. He got emotional. I'm sure some of the guys got emotional. I got emotional watching it. Just a total class guy. They got to play for him. I'd love to see them at least win a series for him, so it just doesn't go out in a first round exit. At this rate, I hope not a sweep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one. That's I think the bigger worry right now.
One good thing for the Bruins, though, if they can make things interesting, or even if they're down 3-0, they're nasty in matinees. Sunday's a matinee on Mother's Day. They're like 10-0 or 10-1 or something in the regular season, something crazy like that. So maybe that's saving grace. Hopefully, it would be to go up, 3-1 or 2-2, or just get one, like something. Right now, I don't feel good about it, but this is my pick. I'm standing by it. I hope I'm right, because that would be sick, honestly. The Rangers, another one that's not looking great. I'm not off to a great start on my bracket.
No, I'm right there with you, though.
They went to triple overtime against the Penguins last night in game 1. I had them in 6. Igor Shesterkin made 79 saves on 83 shots and lost. Like,
insanity.
Just brutal. This game was physical. I love seeing Adam Fox score the first goal too. He's just so fun to watch, and it's just like I feel like he scores a lot of goals like the ones he scored last night too. Just like kind of like a back scratcher from the point, and it goes in. Adam Fox is an incredible defenseman, hockey sense, out of this world. Like just such a good player. It was a good game. It pissed off Rangers fans too because rightfully so. They had a goal called back late in the game. It's not sitting well with a lot of fans. I can understand that. Late in intermission, I should say. But they come out as a loser in this one. Such a heartbreaker. Like, I wouldn't wish that upon anybody except, certain groups of people. I'm not going to get into, but I'm sure anybody who knows me can guess certain fan bases. Watching a 3 overtime game only for your team to lose, it's just brutal. It's just absolutely awful. Casey DeSmith, before he got hurt, made 48 saves and 51 shots. Louis Domingue was the first goalie to come in to a playoff game in 2 OT or later. He made 17 saves on 17 shots. It helped him pull out the win. Like, I think he only played 2 or 3 games in the regular season. Like, what a monster.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
My God, the guy was making, like, baking videos in the summer, and now he's, doing this in the playoffs. Like, what a rock star. He had like spicy pork and broccoli in between periods, and he was talking about that, which is really funny. I don't know if my stomach would agree with me if I was doing that.
I think that's not a great food to have during a hockey game, but if you're playing it, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, what a game though. I mean, the physicality was awesome. There were some nice goals scored, a lot of intensity. The Rangers built Madison Square Garden when the Rangers are in the playoffs is one of the best buildings in hockey. I'm not a Rangers fan by any means, but I love the chant. Oh, hey! It's amazing in the playoffs. It's such a spectacle to watch. But yeah, I mean, just a tough loss for the Rangers. It was a great game though. I didn't stay up for the whole thing, believe it or not. But I was watching the Calgary game for a little bit. Couldn't watch the Colorado game for some reason. The Xfinity app, it wasn't letting me on my iPad, which is dumb. Someone broke a stick. But whatever. I mean, Colorado just absolutely smoked Nashville last night. This game, I have the Rangers winning in 6. Not a big fan of 7-game series here besides the St. Louis series. And I'm probably going to look like an idiot for it. But, brackets are a crapshoot more.
It's what happens. We can't be right all the time.
It's whatever. It's whatever. You'll get over it. I'm over it. The people are over it.
We're already past it.
It's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
On to you.
For mine, yep, same teams, a little different games. I have Florida, same as you, beating Washington in 5, so that one might be a little iffy moving forward. We'll have to wait and see. The Lightning and Maple Leafs, I think that series is going to go the full 7, 2 very good teams. I'm with you. I think Toronto might have a chance to get out of the first round, but as we see in mine, I don't think they're going to have enough. Sticking with you, Bruins in 6 over Carolina. I thought maybe the Bergeron factor, there's obviously still the questions of if this is going to be his last year or not. Maybe that's something the Bruins I thought would ride a little more than they apparently have so far in this series. And like you, I thought not having Anderson would be a big difference for Carolina. That, like you said, has not really been the case yet. And then for the Rangers and Penguins series, I went back and forth. I thought Pittsburgh might have a chance just on their veteran presence with obviously Crosby and Malkin. But Shesterkin's, just too much of a beast. Obviously, like you said, a tough loss for him last night. But I think the Rangers are going to be able to overcome that. And that series will go the distance with New York winning in 7. I don't know if you noticed, too, in the Bruins game, I was going to say earlier, Bruce is getting desperate. You see he put the first line back together?
Yeah, someone actually tweeted about that to me before he did that, I think. And I mean, it makes sense. You got to try something. Like,
anything.
You don't want to break up the second line, but you got to try something.
DeBrusk was out there with the fourth line a second ago, but now he's back out there with.
Yeah, they're
back out there now with the second line. So they're doing everything in their power.
They need one quick. Yep. It's not over. This series has been tough, but it's not over. You can overcome 3-goal leads no matter what the team.
They've done it before.
They've done it before. They certainly have. But on to the second round, we'll go back to the West. Colorado, St. Louis. I got Colorado. I'd go Colorado at 6. I think they're just the better team. St. Louis will give them a good series, but I have faith in Colorado. But St. Louis is scrappy. They're deep, and I could see them upsetting Colorado. But I'm going Colorado here. It would make sense because I always pick them, and the one year I don't pick them to win the cup. For them to make a run to at least the conference finals or the cup would make a lot of sense given my luck. But I'm going Colorado over St. Louis, and then Calgary over Edmonton. I think Calgary's just loaded. Like I said, they got a lot to play for. I think they would absolutely overwhelm the shit out of Edmonton's defense. I think they could do a decent job neutralizing McDavid and Draisaitl. Not completely. Like, you just can't do that. It's really hard. And they're just loaded. They got a lot to play for. I think Calgary's fantastic. It's so funny. Every time I think of Calgary, I think of how I didn't predict them to make the playoffs this year. But they were a wagon. They figured it out. And, an underrated factor, too, that I think some people forget about. Daryl Sutter's won 2 cups, and he's behind the bench. So,
that helps.
That helps. Doesn't hurt at all. I'm going Colorado and Calgary for what would be just beautiful Western Conference final. Like that. Oh, my God, I hope that happens.
I am the same as you. For games, I will have to say.
Oh, did I say games for the Calgary?
You didn't. No, you did not for Calgary and Edmonton.
You
did for Colorado and St. Louis
as well. I go Calgary and 6 as well.
Okay, I would say
that'd be the Battle of Alberta, and that's always wild. So,
yeah,
doesn't have Zach Kassian this year. Actually, is Zach Kassian playing? Whenever I watch him, I never notice him, but I think he's on long-term IR.
That I do not know.
No, he did play. Oh, I don't really notice him when I watch him. Because I'm really just focused on guys like McDavid and Draisaitl, Hyman, and stuff like that. So, obviously so. To you, though.
Yeah, for me, same team, same results, just different games. I'll take Colorado in a gentleman's sweep over St. Louis, and then I'll stick with you, Calgary over Edmonton in 6.
Wow, Colorado in a sweep.
Yeah, I just think Colorado has a little more.
Gentleman's sweep. Is that
a gentleman's sweep? Yep, 5 games.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Yep.
I respect that. I can get along with that. Then I got Florida and Tampa Bay. The Battle of Florida. If we got the Battle of Florida and the Battle of Alberta, that would be awesome.
Be very nice, yeah.
That'd be awesome. Then ideally Bruins and Rangers. That would be a great series as well. Excuse me. I'm gonna tickle my throat. Battle of Florida. We saw it last year. Florida looking for revenge. They haven't been able to make a run in the playoffs. I still think there's a chance this is the year they make a run. This is their best chance to do it. Their best team. I think they would beat Tampa in 6 here. I am going Bruins and Rangers. I'd go Bruins in 7. Wouldn't look good in this case unless they really started playing better and won the series. But
Mhm.
in a perfect world, I'd go Bruins over Rangers in 7. I think they'd give them a good matchup. The Rangers not the best 5-on-5 team. So they got a great power play. The Bruins have a serviceable penalty kill. But I think this series will be a dogfight. I think it'd be very physical, very chippy, but the Bruins would come out on top. But at the same time, it's not to say the Rangers couldn't come out on top in a 7-game series. But I would pick the Bruins here, setting up a Bruins and Panthers conference final.
That is what I have as well. Florida over Tampa Bay. I would say probably. I'll say 7 if it's Florida and Tampa Bay. I think that series, as we saw it before, was a back and forth dogfight type of series. Same thing. And then for Bruins and Rangers, and again, Bruins in 6. I think just if the Bruins can get there, veteran leadership, you would have to think, and playoff experience will help them out there. So I think they'll overcome New York, even with a very solid goalie in Shesterkin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Shesterkin's amazing. I mean, 79 saves last night is completely absurd.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just do the rest of it. I'll go first. Excuse me, Colorado, Calgary. I love Colorado. I love how deep they are, but as I'm looking at what's the score in the Tampa game real quick so I can update anybody who doesn't know. Lightning up 2-0. So
there you go.
Colorado,
4 in a row might not be bad.
Colorado, Calgary is just so hard to do, but Markstrom versus Kemper would be an amazing goalie matchup. Both teams are just stacked. They got different styles a little bit, but I'm going Calgary, man. Like, I don't know. Colorado's, hasn't been able to get to the Cup Finals. I think Calgary's such a tough task for them. This series would go 7, I think, almost definitely. I'm going Calgary in 7, but it's such a tough series to pick because if Colorado rises to the occasion, they can go toe to toe with Calgary and vice versa. But I'm going Calgary. I think it's Calgary's year to come out of the West. Some Canadian representation in the Cup Finals for the 2nd straight year. LOL at the Canadians last year.
Such a fluke.
But yeah, tell me about it. First, highest lottery odds. Keep the change. Bruins, Panthers. I have to go Panthers. I think the Bruins can give them a series, but the Panthers are just loaded if they get here. The Bruins would have to play a near perfect series to beat them. I go Panthers in 5. I go Panthers in 5.
You fought with that one, I could tell.
No, I was fighting with 6.
Oh, we're okay. I thought you were gonna go the other way.
Yeah,
that little grimace at the start. I'm like, he's gonna say they're gonna sweep them, isn't he? The way they're playing right now.
They could, but I don't see it. I don't see it. But I'd have a really hard time seeing the Bruins beating the Panthers this year. It's not like the Bruins matched up terribly against the Panthers this year, but I don't know. In a 7-game series, home ice advantage for the Panthers. I don't like it for the Bruins. I think they'd lose in 5. And it would be really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. But to be fair, I think they'd lose to Colorado or Calgary too. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's a conference finals year at the max for the Bruins, but right now it might be a first round exit.
Yeah, the way things are going right now, not great.
I hope things can go better in game 3 because I don't have faith in them winning this one. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not gonna call it quits, but it just doesn't look good right now. They can't push through. They're
can't
not
get anything going.
High danger chances.
No,
it's just things aren't looking great. For the tiebreaker, I picked 34 total goals in the Cup Finals, and I have Florida over Calgary. This was so tough. This was easily the toughest matchup. I think Calgary could definitely beat Florida, but I'm going Florida in 7. If they get here, it's going to be a dogfight between both sides. I think this could be one of the better Cup Finals we've seen in a long time. Like I said, it would just be an amazing fight, and another year in this case where the Cup stays in Florida for 3 years in a row, just not in Tampa this time.
It's just wild to think about.
Again, like I said, though, I think Calgary could pull it out in this. Seeing Calgary win a cup would be wild. Given the fact, again, like I said, I didn't predict them to make the playoffs this year. I predicted them to be the 5 seed and just miss. But yeah, Florida, going with the scrappy Cats.
We differ on one pick, and that is in the Western Conference Finals. I, like you, have a Colorado and Calgary matchup, but I have Colorado taking it. I'll say 7 in that one. Like you, I have Florida and Boston as well, but for all the same reasons you said, and for if the Bruins are even lucky enough to get there, if they play like this, sweep, like you said, could very well be possible. But again, 5 games, I'll give the Bruins 1 game at home they win if they get there. So Florida in 5, setting up a Florida and Colorado Stanley Cup final for me. But like you, I have the Panthers just overall superb talent, top to bottom. They win that series in 7. I have the tiebreaker being 60 goals, though.
Yeah, you have a
high scoring Stanley Cup final. Yep.
Sicko mode cup final. It's like the tiebreaker for goals scored is such a crapshoot too. Like it doesn't really mean anything. But
hey, the Bruins scored on the power play too.
Damn it, dude! You're ahead of me.
I'm sorry. I thought we were
right away.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we had this problem solved. I thought earlier in the game. You told me. There you go. There's Bergeron too, so that's good.
Too.
Yep.
Why he looks so relieved? Is he hurt? Why is he looking like that?
Maybe just like finally we effing. Oh, now he's bent over, so that's not. Let's see the replay.
Did he get whacked or something?
I don't know.
Who is whacking Patrice Bergeron? I'll jump onto the ice in game 3 and attack you. Just kidding. If any law enforcement are listening to this, I'm
any totally law enforcement.
Joking. I'm totally joking. Or TD Garden.
He might have caught a stick from, I think it was Shea on. Was it? He might have caught a stick up high when. I think it was it Brady Shea was trying to get the puck out. Yeah, he caught a stick in the face, I'm pretty sure. The way he's looking on the bench right now.
He might have a little bit, but I don't think it hit him.
It wasn't anything crazy, but like just kind of a
he's fine, he's tough. We've seen him, play through worse in 2013 in particular.
That's for sure. Yep.
There's life. There's life. Just capitalize.
There's a pulse. Yep.
Keep moving. Let's go. Let's go. Huge. I mean, if they got shut out in this game, I would have.
If they got shut out in this game, they were getting swept.
I would have been hoping to be for game 5 or game 3 on Friday. So, other notes for the Bruins, getting back into Bruins focus outside of our Cup Finals predictions, we both have Florida, but he has Florida over Carolina. I have Florida over Calgary. Fabian Lysell, for anybody who was hoping Fabian Lysell's team would get eliminated, they're not, because Fabian Lysell and Zach Ostapchuk, not going to really focus on him, but he's an Ottawa prospect, 16 points in 6 games for him in the first round. In an upset victory over the Everett Silvertips, which is considered one of the largest upsets in WHL history, apparently. Their top player already left to play for Anaheim's minor league team, Olin Zellweger, one of the best young defensemen in the world right now for prospects. That kid's ridiculous. Fabian Lysell, though, had 15 points in 6 games in the first round. Ridiculous. Like, this kid is so good. He shushed the crowd after a goal. Like,
got some cockiness to him.
God, they could really use him right now. Like, oh my God. I've spoke my piece. I'd be cool with him starting in the AHL, but man, for a failsafe, putting Fabian Lysell out there would be fun, but him and the Vancouver Giants have other plans. It looks like right now. Insane. 15 points in 6 games. Him and Zach Ostapchuk. Looks like they're carrying the Vancouver Giants. Congratulations to him. That's a huge accomplishment. I've seen it's, like I said, mentioned as one of the largest upsets in the history of the league, which is wild. What a year for his first year in North America, first year in Canada as well, of course, being a Swede. Brett Harrison, another 2021 Bruins prospect, had 7 points in 6 games in the Oshawa Generals first round series before they were eliminated by the Kingston Frontenacs and Shane Wright, potential first overall pick of the Canadians, potentially. I hope not. In game 6 of the first round of the OHL playoffs, great round from the sounds of it for Brett Harrison. He had a pretty solid year overall. Really like, the highlights I've seen of him online. Looks like a pretty solid player. Very excited about him right now as a good center prospect of the future for the Bruins. Zdeno Chara looks like he's hanging up the skates. Hasn't made his decision yet, but everybody's giving him handshakes and hugs after the final regular season game for the Islanders, which he scored in. Whoa. What happened?
Didn't want to spoil that one. Lindholm just got lit up and is not looking too good.
Yeah, just real quick on Chara, though. He gets handshakes from everybody. It was awesome. He talked so much. He put this huge Instagram post out.
I don't think Lindholm knows where he is right now.
No, dude, no. Like this can't. This isn't right. Like they just scored. They just got in the game. Like who did this donkey shit? Was it a dirty hit?
I didn't look like it. I looked up really quick and saw him. I think he was green light, like had his head down and got popped. But I think they're calling a penalty.
Please be okay. Because it's been a rough series for Lindholm at times, but like if he's concussed, it could be even rougher. If he stays in and he's a little woozy still.
He's getting a lot of help coming off the ice.
Oh no, dude. He's talking at least. It's not like he's just like drooling right now, which is good, but he's getting a lot of help, like you said. Is it a knee? He's hobbling a little bit.
No, I think he just, let's see. Yeah, head down. Oh, that's
legs kind of trailing a little bit.
That's a clean hit.
Maybe it's a little bit of both. I'm behind on the replay. Oh, dude.
You hate to see that, but that's a perfect hit.
Leg in the groin area too. The private area a little bit. Hope he's wearing a cup.
That's a massive hit. Oh my goodness.
He just got smoked. The stick goes flying.
Yeah, it snapped the stick in half. Jesus Christ. Talk about lighting a guy up.
A little whiplash in the neck and the head. That's not good. I don't like that at all. Oh man.
There's some more adversity to overcome.
That's something to fire the team up too.
That's what I mean.
Bergeron's not happy.
No, I feel like he thinks there should be some sort. I mean, it's a clean hit. It wasn't. It is, yeah. That wasn't high or anything. Like
it might just be his frustration, like just seeing his teammate get hurt. He's taking out on the ref a little bit. I mean, it was a clean hit. He followed through up high, but he didn't make any contact with the face. The head
it wasn't anything bad.
It went through like to the left of Lindholm's head, so it wasn't a dirty hit. He green lighted him. Sometimes
Cassidy's pissed too, which like again like.
Maybe they're pissed about the Bruins having somebody go to the box.
Carlo go in the box.
I don't really understand that entirely, getting mad about, but it's just I think emotions are just running high.
Yep.
But Svechnikov's got his cable with that too. He's a big kid.
Yep.
We saw him freaking try and fight Ovechkin his rookie year in the playoffs.
Yeah. Did not go well, but
he's got some moxie to him. But yeah, he smoked Lindholm, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I hope too. There's a chance it's something in the the torso area, like maybe a rib or like an abdominal. I don't know, but
nope,
that's not good because they just scored and like the trade deadline pickup, the big one.
Yep, not great.
And they got Frederick in there too. He's talking shit.
Whatever,
like that's what he does. Oh man, just use it. Use it as fire. Use it as fire. Crumple the Canes. Crumple the Canes. Tsunamis are better anyways. Another retirement note back to the news points though. Looks like local guy Keith Yandel could retire as well. He had a tough end of the season. We talked about the whole controversy with him in the lineup. Yep. Couldn't happen to a better guy. Psych. Mike Yeo looks like he won't be back as far as head coach because they sucked and he pulled a douchebag move on Keith Yandel. Looks like he won't be back. Really tough, man. But yeah, I mean, Keith Yandel had this long streak, some pretty good seasons. I believe he's from Milton. I should remember that off the top of my head. Pretty solid career for him, but he had a tough year and he's older. Oh, Kochetkov and Marchand
going at it. They both just went, I think.
Marchand's gonna get himself in trouble, in the penalty box. Please don't. D'Angelo.
The second period has taken forever to play.
Tony D'Angelo, dude. Tony D'Angelo, dude. You deactivated your Twitter because you couldn't handle it because you're a crazy fuck. Don't say anything to Patrice Bergeron. You stupid fucking mope. Dumbass, idiot. Oh my god, I hate him so much, especially when he talks. I don't even like his face. Oh my god, now Marchand's in the box. You don't have to give him the slash.
He cross-checked the goalie beforehand for some reason. It's just Marchand being a fucking idiot again.
No, that's kind of dumb, but like, come on, dude, you're letting a rookie get in your head when you're losing in the playoffs, Marchand. Come on, dude.
That's what I mean.
Oh. angry. You already have 2 teammates in the box, Marshall. What are you doing? Like, are you trying to lose the series right now, right here? Like, please stop. This is getting ugly. Like,
That's what I mean. The second period is taking an
obvious.
eternity to play because of all the penalties.
Yeah, I mean, you're letting a goalie wearing number 52 get in your head. No disrespect to the great number 52 in Bruins history, but not in Hurricanes history, not for a goalie. Getting back to reality though, a little bit real quick before we move to Celtics and I take a bathroom break. Nick Foligno named the 2021-22 King Clancy Memorial Trophy nominee for the Bruins, presented to the player who best exemplifies leadership qualities on and off the ice and has made a noteworthy humanitarian contribution in his community. Makes sense. You know, Foligno's been a positive guy. He's always going crazy after the game celebrations as well. Looks like he's been a great locker room guy. But yeah, he gets the King Clancy. You know, I could see him winning it, but I'm not gonna be like, oh, like he's gonna win it over this guy. It's King Clancy. It's not one of those types of awards. But yeah, that wraps up for Bruins. I'm sure we'll be talking about stuff as the game goes on here.
Another bad penalty.
Forward. I mean, that wasn't even that much of a hook, but they call stupid ticky.
That's what I mean.
Things like that on hooks and slashes all the time. So I'm really not that surprised. I'm just really, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. That's
what we got
Bruins,
now.
but we'll surely talk about
5 guys in the box.
Yeah, surely we'll talk about more hockey, but I got to go to the bathroom as you get started on Celtics here.
All right, so for Celtics, it was really a tale of 2 games so far, with just tale of 2 extremes for the most part. Celtics obviously lose game 1, 101-89 to the Bucks. Game 2, they come out, kind of blow the doors off Milwaukee for the most part. Got a little interesting in the second half. Milwaukee started hitting some shots, but of course the Celtics pull it out 109-86. I'll start with game 1. Just some of my thoughts while Mike's away. Obviously, watching the game, anybody who watched it, if you just looked at the box score, horrendous night for the Jays. Jason Tatum had just 21 points. Jaylen Brown had probably the worst night of his NBA career, 12 points on 4 of 13 shooting, really couldn't get anything going. It was kind of obvious his hamstring was messing with him a little bit. I mean, the Celtics got beat up in game 1, which was expected. This is not the Brooklyn team that we saw in game 1, or rather the first series of the NBA playoffs. Milwaukee, obviously with Giannis, Brook Lopez, even Drew Holiday, a much more physical team than that Brooklyn team. And I thought really Milwaukee did what the Celtics did to Brooklyn, in the fact that, they beat them up. Jason Tatum was hit on pretty much every play, was doubled on every play, possession. Celtics really didn't have a ton of space to get anything going. So a tough look there is now I think the Bruins are down 4-1. So that's going to be a rude awakening for Mike when he comes back. But yeah, I mean, it was just a tough game for the Celtics. They talked about it. They got punched in the mouth all throughout game 1. As we saw in game 2, they took it right back and did the same exact thing to Milwaukee, but just some more game 1 thoughts. Way too many threes for the Celtics. It's going to be tough, like I said, to get in the paint with guys like Giannis and Brook Lopez. But the fact that the Celtics really didn't even try was kind of alarming. Took 53s, not great. Like I said, just really scared to try to drive a lane with Giannis and Lopez. You're not going to be happy, as I'm kind of waiting for you to put your headset on.
Yeah,
they are now down.
I brought my iPad to the bathroom while I pissed for like 20 minutes there. I mean, like this is what you're doing to Linus Ullmark. You're screwing Linus Ullmark,
making it look bad. Yeah.
Over.
Yep.
Now you're making it look ugly. Like what are we doing here? I mean, the forward call was ticky tacky. I'm not gonna play forward, but like
no, it wasn't.
Marshawn, you gotta stop. You're having this terrible stretch. It hasn't really gone much better recently.
Nope.
And you're doing that. It's inexcusable from a leader. It's inexcusable from a guy that's been there to the Cup Finals 3 times and won once. You can't do this if you're Brad Marchand. You just can't. Like, it gets old. And he got away from it for years. In the past year and a half, he's gotten back into his shit. He's got to stop. Like, you're already down a goal. You're playing a better team. And you're doing this bullshit against a rookie going wearing number 42 in his first playoff game. Dude, come on. Get it together. What the fuck are you doing?
You're killing me. Yeah, it's not been great. I mean, it's just more of the same. Like, giving momentum back. Like,
yeah, you're giving momentum back. It's not even as much, they're not going to win this game at this point. It's just not happening. But, like,
nope.
It's just from a common sense standpoint, too. Like, not even as much losing. Like, common sense, dude. Common sense. Get it together, man.
Don't take dumb penalties. Don't hurt yourself. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Like,
KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Like,
kiss. Yeah, but while you were gone, I mean, I just tried to recap game 1 as best as I could. I don't know if you had Just any overarching thoughts? I don't know how much of the first game you watched for the Celtics, but kind of like I said, right when you left, a tale of two extremes from game one to game two, with how poorly the Celtics shot the ball and how well Milwaukee did in game one, to now how just the flip side of it, how good Boston was in game two. I haven't really said anything about game two yet. But your overall thoughts from game one, just were you surprised at all at how, physical and quick Milwaukee came out? Kind of like I said, gave the Celtics a taste of their own medicine a little bit. Boston beat up on the Nets in the first series, but then Milwaukee kind of turned the tides and did the same thing to Boston in game one of this series. So any overarching thoughts from you, at least from game one? Your boy Jaylen Brown did not have a good game in the slightest, but he made sure as hell made up for it in game two.
Yeah, he did. He didn't have a great game in game one, but it was a tough game for the Celtics. The Bucks showed their might, but I mean, he made up for it and then some. Just a king. Like, he was automatic. It was, I don't watch as many Celtics games as you do, but I think it was the most automatic I've ever seen Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, it was.
He was, dude. He saw Marcus Smart out of the lineup, and he's like, I got to step up. Maybe just in general too, whether Smart were to play or not. And he did, and that's what you want to see from a guy that's a leader on this team now too.
Absolutely.
Just absolute money. Like, it was endless. He was so good. The team was so good. They were smart. They weren't great with the whole 3-pointer thing. They were taking tons of 3-pointers, which I still don't love. It's one of my biggest pet peeves from the Celtics when I watch them, unless you're going 2015 Warriors mode and whatever.
You got to hit them.
You got to hit them. And
didn't happen in game one. That's what I mean. It's just extreme, just how extreme the two games were, from going 18 of 50 in game one. 53s in game one is ridiculous in itself. They take 43 in game two, but hit, what was it, 24 something, 22. They set a record, I think, for the most they've hit in what was it? Yeah, 20 for 43 in game two. I had it somewhere in the outline. I just found it, but that's seems to be what
they rose to the occasion.
Absolutely. But that was the thing too I wanted to get your thoughts on, as you brought up Marcus Smart. And obviously you never want to not have the reigning defensive player of the year out there, but I wonder from a standpoint of like you say, leaders having to step up and guys having to step up. And you clearly saw that with Jaylen Brown. I mean, the broadcast made a point to say, he got to the arena super early after a rough game, and like you said, played out of his mind in game two. Was arguably the best game he's played after arguably the worst game of his NBA career. Jason Tatum took over late. Grant Williams, who we'll get to, had arguably his best game of his NBA career. I wonder if it wasn't the worst possible thing to not have Marcus Smart playing game two. Like, you know what I mean? Like, other guys kind of knowing that, okay, Marcus is out, we're going to have to all rally more on defense than we kind of have as a group to begin with. Like, not having him there, someone's going to have to pick that slack up. Other guys are going to have to step up and step in to, figure out his scoring, the drought that they're going to have without Smart in there. He's good for at least 15 points a game, it seems like now. So someone's going to have to pick that slack up. So I wonder, again, you don't want to not have him out there, but if, there was a time to not have him play a game down 1-0. Like, I know it sounds dumb to say probably to some people, like you want Marcus Smart out there, I know, but like from I don't know, like an energy stand, like they obviously just seemed like they played with more of a better pace in game two, came out, like I said, with seemed like with a fire under their ass in game two. Maybe that had something to do with it, not having Smart out there and knowing we're going to have to step up and play even more, tight defense than we have in the past because he's not out there. Just like, I don't know if you have any overall thoughts on not having Smart out there.
Yeah, like you partially said, like, it was not the worst game to not have Smart because it allowed Jaylen to step up. Grant Williams played good. Tatum, started out not the best, if I'm remembering correctly, but he picked it up. He finished
was not
20.
good in the first half.
He finished with over 20, right?
Yeah, he did. Well, that was the thing, is it was the first quarter and the first half was, the Jaylen Brown show. He had 25 points for Brown in the first half alone, 9 of 10 shooting, 5 of 5 from deep. And only 2, that was a big thing too for Jaylen Brown, which I didn't even mention. The 2 turnovers in game 2 compared to the 7 he had in game 1. Like, he was just overall smarter with the basketball, smarter shots, obviously hit open shots, and then, didn't make a bunch of mistakes turning the ball over. So he had the great first half, had the great first quarter, 17 points. Jason Tatum took over the game in the second half. He finished with 29, but had 19 of those in the second half. He was 7 of 13 shooting. So that was, I think, good to see. Obviously, we've talked about it plenty of times. I think game 1 was the thing too. I was talking to a couple people, like, you were kind of waiting for one of Brown or Tatum to step up and, kind of perform a little bit, and the Celtics would have been right. Probably would have been in that game if one of them played well, but neither of them did. you saw in game 2 that both guys play well, both guys get at least 25 and the Celtics win the game and win it in pretty commanding fashion. So I think that's kind of a big thing that a lot of obviously people are talking about when you have those two guys step up like they did and have that killer instinct that you didn't really see them have in game 1. Like I said, they got beat up in game 1. That showed, they kind of had that demonstrative look to themselves like they had, pre-January Celtics where you guys were arguing with the referees, we're down after missing shots, weren't getting back. And you didn't see that a whole lot of that in game 2, which was good. Total turnaround mentality wise, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just distracted by all this.
Very down with the Bruins.
The Bruins game right now.
Uh-huh.
I gotta be honest. Like,
all
I'm
right,
not gonna sugarcoat it, but at least things are going well for the Celtics.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's like it's a great turn. Like I feel like they couldn't have played a better. From all the things they did wrong in game 1. From like I said, again they took a lot of threes in game 2. It's just the difference is they went down compared to game 1. But like I'm with you. That was the question I was going to ask is how, and a lot of people have been arguing this, is how sustainable is shooting 53s or, close to 53s a game. I think they have more 3-pointers so far, 3-point attempts in the series so far than they have 2-point attempts. They've shot 83 threes, 71 twos. To me, I would think that's not a sustainable thing. But then, like I said, you're playing a team in Milwaukee that has some really good rim protectors, and obviously Giannis, Brook Lopez, his elite thing is he's a good shot blocker and a good rebounder. Bobby Portis is good on defense. So, maybe driving the paint isn't the most successful thing to do or the best game plan to do. If I were the Celtics, we saw Jaylen Brown do a lot of it in the second game is he'd pull up and take 16, 17 footers. That's what he broke Grayson Allen's ankles on, which was great to see. Didn't even mention that, but that's what they have to do. I mean, the Celtics had a lot more obviously drive and kick in game 2 than they did in game 1. They weren't just taking, spot up threes. They were finding open guys, but that's what I mean. I mean, I think the first 2 games, it's a good filling out thing to have this amount of threes, but as you go further into the series, you're going to have to change up your defensive plan because Milwaukee's a team that throughout the entire season, they would give up the 3 ball. Like they didn't care. They made it known they were going to protect the rim and they were good at doing it. But I think for the Celtics, to be successful, you're going to have to switch it up a little bit and maybe give them a different looking game 3. Maybe you attack more, and maybe that's not the best thing to do going to Milwaukee because maybe the foul calls will lean more towards the Bucks and you won't get to the free throw line a lot. They really haven't in this series. But just something to maybe think about, like maybe take a look and see, okay, well, if Milwaukee maybe decides to guard the 3 ball more, maybe we move it a little bit more and have some more drives that end at the free throw line maybe.
I'll say this, I like Smart, but it was nice not to have him throwing up bad shots, which he still does sometimes.
Yeah, he's
his shot selection. Like for a lot of the season, he did realize like, hey, like I have 2 better primary shooters right now. Like I'm going to focus on what my biggest strengths are. Mm-hmm. But I think, at times throughout the playoffs so far, he's, taking shots he probably doesn't need to, but yep. That happens, but I'd love him to limit it. But yeah, Jaylen Brown, who's a better shooter and, I think a better shot selection type of guy as well, picking his spots. So, we'll see how Smart plays whenever he comes back. But Horford's been great. Williams has been great. I like to see them limit the 3 ball. It's just like you want the, ideally, more simple points, just easy jumpers, layups and especially against a team like Milwaukee, because if they get on a run because you're missing 3-pointers, they're probably going to make it hurt because Giannis is amazing. And even without Middleton, their depth, Drew Holiday has been good. Brook Lopez has been good. He had like 25, I think, at the end of the game 2. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think they got to find a good mix of what they did in game 2 and change things up a little bit, with certain things we've mentioned, and they'll be fine going forward. Because we both had Celtics in 6. Doesn't look like too outlandish of a prediction right now.
Nope.
And ideally in the future you have faster starts from Jason Tatum, and that helps you. He had a slow start in game 2, and getting him going. Maybe he's the next one to pop off. Maybe we'll see that, knock on wood, in game 3. But it's hard not to feel good about the Celtics right now. They dominated that game for the long portion of it. Even when Milwaukee snuck back into the game, the Celtics didn't let it get too out of control. It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty close for the Celtics, I'd say.
Yep.
And it's what a response, like losing a leader like Smart hurts, but it's also the type of guy like we know how Smart will want us to play. Like let's play like it, like let's rise to the occasion. They did, and that's something a Celtics team of the past might not have done. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
say
I mean,
that might piss people off, but they might not have. They might not have put out a performance like this.
no, I very well think if this was the same team, well, I mean, if it was the same team as it was the start of the year, they wouldn't be in the playoffs. Let's not get that, let's not sugarcoat anything here. But like if this was a team of old and they had that performance in game one, if things didn't go well in the start of game two, like we've seen them before, kind of not shut it down early, but like they struggle to get back into games. We start in game one a little bit, they start bitching at the referees, they don't get back on defense, and then the game ends up in a blowout like game one for the most part was, towards the end at least. But yeah, you said, I mean, this team overcomes obviously not having Smart. They got off to, I mean, they didn't get off to a bad start. They shot the lights out, like I said. But yeah, there's been some adversity. I mean, obviously the biggest one is, how are they going to take on Giannis? And I thought two different styles in game one compared to game two. Game one, which I didn't agree with. I mean, they doubled them a lot, which led to Giannis's triple double. He was able to kick out to guys in the corners, and Brooklyn, I keep saying Brooklyn, Milwaukee, like the Celtics did in game two. Milwaukee was hitting their open threes. Game two, the Celtics changed it up. They had more one-on-one defense. Al Horford, like you said, was great. Took him on. Grant Williams, this was from NBA stats, games 1 and 2 with, Giannis versus Al Horford and Grant Williams, had 106 possessions through the first two games, 37 points, 14 of 40 shooting, 5 shooting fouls drawn, 7 turnovers, and 11 assists for Giannis. I said that after game one. I was talking to a couple people. I said, if I was the Celtics going into game two and moving forward, I don't know if you remember, I think it was more so towards the start of Brad Stevens' coaching career, whenever the Celtics would face a guy, like a team would say like had like a LeBron type or Giannis type, they'd sit there and go, okay, well, this guy's going to get at least 30 off us. So let's let him get his 30 and let's limit all of his guys around him. Let's, contain those guys and try to have one single player beat us. They didn't do that in game one. You saw that. I think Drew Holiday went for, might've been 24. Bobby Portis had double figures. Game two was the complete opposite. They stayed one-on-one for the most part with Giannis. Had a couple moments where they were switching guys on and off and double teaming him a little bit, which again didn't work at times. Giannis was able to figure some things out, but I thought game two, the more one-on-one, and we're gonna, try to have Giannis just single-handedly beat us and keep the other guys at bay. I think that worked well. I think that's something they should probably do moving forward because, like you said, without Middleton there, it's going to be tough for Milwaukee to try to score outside of Giannis, and I think if the Celtics can limit him and, keep the other guys, like I said, in check, then they'll be in pretty good shape in this series. Now, they did figure some things out. Milwaukee started running some pick and rolls where Giannis was the pick guy, and he'd come off and the ball carrier would drive. And, the Celtics really didn't know who to cover on that because you have to obviously keep an eye on Giannis when he gets into the paint. And there were some plays, too, where he got out in transition and was able to beat Rob Williams. So that's probably something they should probably try to limit. And they've done a good job on so far, but just some things they might have to clean up. But other than that, like I would stick with how they defended Giannis in game two. Keep Al Horford or Grant Williams, who again was brilliant. I think, his offensive game, how well he played, maybe overshadowing how phenomenal he played defensively, because there were times where he was a flat out brick wall against Giannis, couldn't go around him, couldn't shoot over him. And, Grant Williams really had his coming out party in this game, which was good to see. But if they can, like I said, keep guard Giannis the way they did with the one-on-one stuff, that seemed to frustrate Giannis at times, really didn't get anything going until late in the game, when it was a little too late. Like that's how I would go at him in this series. Be physical. He's going to get his points at some point. He's going to get to the free throw line. I think that's just something they have to accept and, try to fight through that. And like you said, you saw Jason Tatum get involved late. He, kind of had some daggers late in that game. Some other guys stepped up, and hopefully you can have that moving forward, more of the same.
Yeah, I think, they limited Giannis pretty early on, but I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say, dude? I hate when I do this, but
It's completely lose
lot going
the
on
whole thought
right now.
Yeah,
But I was gonna segue to Al Horford. Like, Al Horford isn't a guy that like blows you away with his speed in any regard at 35, but like, dude, he's very sound. Like,
yeah, yep.
very sound with everything. This might sound kind of goofy, but like, I don't know what it is, but I love his shooting form. Like it's like it looks like a veteran
sideways. Yeah,
and it like every time I watch a game, like Al Horford doesn't miss much. Like I don't know.
No,
what
he's
it is.
pretty automatic for the most part.
It started in 2018 when I went to Game 5 against the Bucks and he had a double. He went off as the best player on the team. Dude, like I love him. Like Grant is such a beast. Like you saw the mic'd up stuff too, and like
Mhm.
how he's becoming a leader. And one of the announcers mentioned it too. He's got like the leader like voice too. He's like a
Yeah,
younger
Van
guy, but
Gundy did. Yep,
he's got that like I don't know what the word for it is, but like
gravitas for,
gravitas.
I
Yeah,
guess. Yeah.
he doesn't sound like a young guy. He sounds like he's
Mhm.
like 30 or like they're like an 8-year vet.
Yep.
It's really inspiring to watch this team right now all around because things could have went worse. Could have been closer, could have been an OT game. I
Mhm.
expected it to be like a 4 or 5 point game no matter what.
Yep.
How things went. Losing Smart would hurt them more, but they're scrappy, man. You can
Mhm.
never rule out the Celtics right now, and it's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you could absolutely have considered yesterday a must-win game for them. I mean, down obviously 1-0, like I said, you get punched. They all were saying it too, so I'm just going to keep taking the term. But they kept talking about getting punched in the mouth in game one. It was a wake-up call. I mean, if they went down 0-2 going to, like if this series started in Milwaukee and they went down 0-2, I would have had a better feeling heading back to Boston. Obviously you want to play in front of the home crowd more, but if they went down 0-2 going to Milwaukee, which is become
Yeah,
a very tough place to play over the years. Obviously, being the defending champs, that helps out a ton. Like, I would have felt a lot worse about this team going into Milwaukee down 0-2 than I feel right now going, 1-1. I figured they were going to split either way. We come back to Boston 2-2 at some point. But now, with the series tie 1-1, I mean, anything can happen, obviously, moving forward. And like you said, you hopefully get Smart back. I think Ime Udoka, when he was asked about it before the game yesterday, he said it doesn't appear to be anything long-term. And obviously with the ridiculous scheduling now, I mean, we crapped on it when it came out, but now I guess in the sense it helps the Celtics a little bit with obviously Smart being hurt and, you don't know about Jaylen Brown's hamstring. The 3 days off, I guess, are a blessing in disguise. And, hopefully Smart can play in game 3 and you get, some more obviously shut down defense like he gives you. You get some scoring because, Derek White has not been great on the offensive end. I mean, he's been fine defensively. Like, again, when they got him, I think I said, he's a Marcus Smart type with a little bit better shooting. And, Marcus Smart now has been the better offensive guy, surprisingly enough. But that's kind of my thing is I don't know how concerned you are with Derek White at all. Again, he's been fine defensively, but you're very
like,
okay.
Offensively.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd like
anything offensively.
Some sort of production from him. Yeah. Cause 0 points.
Yeah.
Like you talk about NHL plus minus being a kind of throwaway stat. Like he had 0 points, Derek White in game 2, but was a plus 22 because his defense was fine. So like, obviously you'll take the good defense, but you'd like a little bit more scoring moving forward, especially again, if Smart can't go for whatever reason in game 3. You'd like to not have to rely mainly on Grant Williams off the bench because Pritchard really hasn't given you a ton. He had a couple of moments in this game. Had a couple of shots, but like you'd like a little bit more out of him. I know kind of nitpicking stuff here, but Derek White's kind of the guy that, he's the guy, you think of as I feel like the sixth man just from a scoring standpoint off the bench. I know Grant Williams has been great, but like if you were to look at the Celtics team on paper, you say, well, Derek White's the guy you have to lean on coming off the bench. And he really hasn't been that guy offensively. You'd like a little bit more out of him, but again, if they can, and it's tough consistently to say, Grant Williams is going to consistently put up 15 plus points night in and night out because, he just hasn't been that guy throughout his NBA career. He's been great this season. Don't get me wrong, but like, can you rely on him to get you that, have a game like he had yesterday? Maybe, like I said, maybe yesterday was his coming out party and, he plays phenomenal for the rest of the series. I don't doubt it, but it's a big ask, at least to me. So you'd like, White to take, some of the burden off some of these guys when he gets out there.
Yeah, Pritchard, when he does pitch in, he's another guy I love watching. Like he's just like so fun to watch when he's on. Yep. And I feel like he contributes like, important shots every once in a while, but yeah, you could use a little bit more from him. I'm happy this series, one of the things that really pissed me off in game 1 was that I think it was the first or second quarter where Giannis just absolutely buried Grant Williams. Like Grant Williams has no hand infraction towards the ball, under his arm, under his wrist or anything. Nothing like that for a
barrel them over.
Yep. Just barrel them over. And he doesn't get an offensive foul or a charge.
Like that is the Giannis experience.
That's the Giannis experience. These are the things I don't understand about the NBA. Like that should be an offensive foul. And
should be, but never.
Jaylen Brown first quarter buries Grayson Allen and drains one. So it was kind of like yes, like
yep.
There we go.
He flat out snapped. There there was no foul there. He flat out just disgraced Grayson, broken ankles. And then he did the same thing to Giannis, not to the extent of falling down, but back to back. That's what I mean. Just how much, and that's like I said it earlier, like to see Brown and Tatum come out with that. Brown, especially right out of the gate, like just looked like a man on a mission. Like, I'm going to be going for people's throats tonight, which was good to see. Because again, they really didn't have any of that in game one, which was the frustrating thing for me is, like I said, you come off a series as well as you played against Brooklyn, and you maybe saw it a little bit. The Celtics might have been feeling themselves a little too much. And like I said, they get a good punch from Brooklyn, couldn't really bounce back. You didn't really see that, gut check moment from Tatum or Brown where you're like, all right, one of us needs to step up, and they really couldn't get anything going. And that's, not to take anything away from Milwaukee, because they played both Brown and Tatum really well in game one, but to see Brown come out and, like I said, have that killer instinct right out of the gate, and then he struggles in the second half, Tatum picks up the slack and, turns into the stone cold killer that he's become with a couple of huge shots. Like, there were a couple of times when Milwaukee looked like they were going to go on a run, and Tatum would come up the floor, drained a three, and I think had a layup or two that went down too. So some big shots from him late that really put the game away. So to see both of them bounce back and, again, just kind of take the game over, both in their own ways and both in their own times, was good to see, and gives you a lot of confidence moving forward.
Yeah, how could you not with that performance? And yeah, Jalen just schooling Giannis like that, just really, like, that was, I feel like that was like the second quarter, like maybe late second quarter. I was like, all right, they're winning this game, and like I feel a lot better about this team than after game one. That was the one when I was like, all right, like we're good.
Yep.
It was pretty. Things were pretty substantial before that, but I was like, all right, like we're feeling it like that without Marcus Smart. Like, we're good. Like, the Celtics are good. Like, Milwaukee's gonna be tough to play in Milwaukee, but they're good. They'll figure it out. If they need to make adjustments, I trust Ime Udoka. I trust the leadership core in this team, and they can figure it out if they need to make changes or work on the fly. And I'm looking forward to game 3, man, because if they can, winning either game on the road is huge for the Celtics. But if you win game 3 in particular, if you were to just take one, like, that's another just huge statement in a season full of statements. Like, it's a statement season for the Celtics. Like,
yeah, I would say so.
Charlie McAvoy's hurt.
I didn't want to, I think I'm ahead of you, didn't want to mention anything because it just keeps getting worse and worse for the Bruins. This one I didn't see. I saw the ends where he went flying. Let's see, open ice.
Oh my God. Can we just like insult to injury? Like, what it was his Sveshnikov. They pinned his Sveshnikov into Brusque. Like,
would you call that incidental contact?
He wasn't looking, but like, you gotta be looking there. You almost just tore Charlie McAvoy's fucking leg off.
And DeBrusque got a penalty. What did DeBrusque get a penalty for? Cross-checking a guy in the face. That's okay.
Just wrapping up Celtic stuff pretty much, but like,
nope.
I mean, McAvoy looks fine, but Dak would have sunk me. I would have fallen to the ground.
This game has all the feeling of, let's just get the hell out of Carolina, try to survive the last 18 minutes, and try to even this thing up at home when we go back for 2. Like, this just does not. Really it at this point. Yeah, have a great feeling to this one. So hopefully the Celtics, I mean, again, we have to wait a little bit for Saturday, but hopefully they can, continue to right the ship and give us, something to be hopeful about and be happy about. I mean, we'll have a Bruins game in between there, so maybe the Bruins can figure something out, but.
Yeah, and I mean, in the rest of this game and in the future, just get a body on Sveshnikov whenever you can. I need to see more bodies on Slavin too. When you get the puck deep on Slavin, we joked at Merrimack back in the day, like, pucks in Dougie's corner when Dougie was on the
that's true.
On the Hurricanes.
Carolina, yep.
Do it to Slavin. It worked against Dougie. Slavin's not Dougie.
I was gonna say 2 totally different mindset guys. Yeah,
but I mean, Dougie's very good when he's on top of his game, but ever since he broke his jaw, he admitted this too. He's not the same for the Devils this year. But yeah, I mean, at this point, like, just stay healthy, please. If you're the Bruins
and the Celtics,
just bury Sveshnikov a few times. Don't do anything dirty, but like, just put a body on him. Like, I know it's tough. He's a big guy. You're not gonna lay him out, but try and come back in this game, obviously. But the odds aren't looking too good. And just stay healthy and, just get ready for game 3. Hopefully,
I think there's another penalty on the Bruins. Yep. Forbert's going for a high stick, I'm pretty sure.
Nice, whatever, dude. Like,
All right. On to the NFL draft, because there's a lot of.
I just dropped a harumph. Like,
this one's over. Oh, was that a double minor for high sticking? Yep. He cut, who was that? Is that Aho?
oh, it's such a shame.
No, that's Trocheck. I think he got. Oh, nope. Never mind. I was looking at Carlo. Teravainen, yeah. That's such a dumb penalty to take. What are you doing? Pucks away and he whacks the guy one more time right in the face.
That's just lazy. Yeah, it is terrible. Yep. I didn't see it live.
Yeah, they just showed the replay. Terrible. All right, on to the NFL draft, because the Bruins are getting more and more frustrating to talk about by the minute. But I don't know. I mean,
I need another chili one.
It's all right. I'll start this then. I mean, we'll get to the Patriots stuff in a second. I just didn't know if you had any overarching thoughts on.
I do.
All right, some picks. Oh, now we got a McAvoy just went after somebody. Getting distracted. I think one of the bigger surprises, Tavon Walker going number 1 overall to Jacksonville.
Trayvon.
Trayvon, thank you.
Yeah, McAvoy. Give it to him, baby.
There you go.
Yeah, give him a couple whacks in the face. Like, who cares at this point? Just don't get suspended. Like,
well, that's, yeah.
Oof. Give him a couple whacks. Like, let him know. Like, who cares? It's gonna get chippy. Like, it was bound to get chippy. Like,
he's shit talking with somebody right now. But yeah, any thoughts from the first round of the NFL draft as we, like I said, try to get to that with the Bruins right in the middle of everything. Yeah, like I said, Walker to Jacksonville was a little surprising. I kind of thought Hutchinson was going to be the overall number 1 guy. He goes to Detroit. Drake London's the first wide receiver off the board to Atlanta, I believe, right? Yep, he was first to Atlanta. Some big trades that went on. A.J. Brown gets traded to Philadelphia. Surprisingly, that Hollywood Brown gets traded to Arizona. Like, it's a lot to
with Kyler though.
Yeah, that's true. Didn't even realize they were college teammates. He
was in Arizona. All right.
When that happened,
the trade was announced. Yeah, he was already in Arizona. Like, that was pretty organized. So.
Yeah, I was just gonna say before this behind the scenes type of thing. But yeah,
hold on, one quick thing. Is this 3 5-on-3s now for Carolina they've gotten this game?
I believe so. They've had 12 power plays?
This just like this couldn't have gone much worse. Like, nope. I really thought they were gonna win this game. And now it's a 4-minute from the looks of things. I really thought they were gonna win this game. I really did. I was very confident all day, good vibes. I really thought they were going to win this game. I really did. Oh, brutal. Trayvon Walker won. I wouldn't have done it. I would have taken Hutchinson.
A lot of people wouldn't have done it from what I saw.
If they can get the most out of Walker, it's going to be a pretty good pick. So can't really fault them too much. It's not like they did anything crazy off the board, but it just came down, in the coming weeks up to the draft, whether it was going to be Walker or Hutchinson or, maybe an offensive tackle, but it's whatever. Aiden Hutchinson falls into the Lions' lap at 2. They picked him so fast.
Thank you very much.
So fast that the league got mad at them.
Oh, really? I didn't even see that.
Mad at them for it. Yeah, but I mean,
that's how it should be, though. If that's what I always said about the teams with the first overall pick. You should not be taking the full 10 minutes to make the pick. Like, I feel like you should know with number 1 overall going in what you want. So, I don't know why you're gonna get all pissy if the NFL, like I said, didn't see if they said or did something.
Pissy, Leon?
Don't know. But no, just a little gripe there. But continue. Sorry, getting sidetracked.
Yeah, I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, great pick for the Lions. Stays in the area. She's a home run pick for the Lions. I thought they overall had a pretty good draft. There were rumblings about Derek Stingley being Houston's preferred top corner, and they proved those rumblings to be correct as they took Derek Stingley. Makes sense more 3 or 4 months ago, but at the same time, there's doubts about Derek Stingley. His production has fallen off. He hasn't been able to sustain that freshman year production, but still a good pick. Nick Caserio, former Patriots mind, Belichick disciple, is running things there. I think that organization is in good hands in terms of drafting. I think Derek Stingley will end up being a fine player. Will he be better than Sauce Gardner? I can't say that for sure, but Sauce Gardner went right after to the New York Jets, sadly. Did not want to see him end up with the Jets. I think he's a fantastic player. Home run pick for the Jets. Came on Thibodeau at 5. Really nice pick. He was fired up.
Giants had a very good draft.
At 7, so I technically got it right in a way. I went 0 for 32. but I had certain players, certain teams just not at the right picks because there were tons of trades. In this
I'll give you
case,
a
he went
half
at the
point.
other Giants pick. Yeah, give me half. Give me half. Just give me half. Ike Ekwonu to the Panthers at 6. Love this pick. I would have, really considered a QB here, but as we saw the QBs fall, it makes a lot of sense that they didn't. Maybe they would have loved Malik Willis if he fell to them at the Matt Corral spot. They ended up taking Matt Corral, but he did not. We'll never know. Matt Corral, potential QB of the future in Carolina. That was in the 3rd round. Evan Neal is a home run to the Giants at 7. Insane value at 7. You pair him up. You have him and Andrew Thomas at the top tackle spots for the Giants. Daniel Jones would have a lot of time. We'll see what happens, but Evan Neal and Andrew Thomas are two phenomenal young offensive tackles. 2 huge building blocks to the Giants. They want to get back into contention. Love Drake London to the Falcons. I had Garrett Wilson, who went 10th Jets, but Drake London's a fine pick. I think he'll be a nice weapon for either Desmond Ridder or Marcus Mariota. I don't know if I'm alone in this, but I don't think Drake London's going to be like an immediate stud. I think it might take him a little bit in his rookie season, and then he'll probably be pretty solid. I don't see this much bust potential here at all for the Falcons at 8. I like Drake London. Seattle went Charles Cross. I had them going Kenny Pickett. They went Charles Cross. Not a bad pick.
A little surprising to take a quarterback.
Drew Lock is not their QB of the future,
No.
I don't think. But they go Charles Cross. He's one of the better, if not the best, pass blocking offensive tackles in the draft. So can't hurt. You're trying to strengthen a weakness that has been a weakness for a while now. Charles Cross is not a bad way to go. So like that pick. I'm looking at this Seattle picks right now, and now that I think, did they even take a QB?
I don't think so.
Their first 3 picks were fantastic. They got Cross, they got Boye Mafe, and Ken Walker. So that's great. That works for them. Abraham Lucas is another great pick at offensive tackle too, so they get a couple good offensive tackles. Kobe Bryant's another good one. Great value in the 4th round. Tariq Woolen. Wow, they had a great draft. Outside of not drafting a QB, like Tariq Woolen in the 5th round with his combine performance, potentially vaulting him to 2nd round status. That's crazy at the 5th round. Tyreek Smith's a good linebacker at Ohio State. Bo Melton in the 7th round is ridiculous value. He could have went 4th round. They got him at 229. And I don't know who Derek Young is from Lenore Ryan, but I think they brought in a QB or 2 in the undrafted free agent market, but kind of questionable to not see them draft the QB here. Maybe they have a lot of faith in Drew Lock. I don't know. Maybe they're going to wait till next year in a better QB class. Garrett Wilson to the Jets. Another pick I hate for that, the fact that he's going to the Jets. Garrett Wilson is awesome. He's a huge, huge, huge weapon potentially for Zach Wilson. Wilson to Wilson. I don't want to hear that for years to come. That's going to suck if it comes to fruition to being an elite duo. But Garrett Wilson, home run pick with the Jets. They had a pretty good draft. Chris Olave, the Saints traded up for this. Rock star pick. I love Chris Olave. I had him going to 11 to the Commanders, but they traded out of the pick. So technically I got this one right.
Half point there. Yep.
Yeah, half point.
Check another one off.
I'm doing 0.75 points here.
There you go.
Jameson Williams, the Lions, training up for receiver too. Progressing really well from his ACL recovery. Huge pick for the Lions. They got Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Chark, and Jameson Williams now. Really nice group of receivers. Jordan Davis at 13 to the Eagles. Almost made it to where I had him going 14 to the Ravens, the next pick, but Jordan Davis is just a monster. They traded up with the Texans to get him. Massive pickup. I hate the fact that Philadelphia gets to root for Jordan Davis because he's so awesome and Philadelphia fans do not deserve him. Sorry if any Philly fans are watching. No offense. Full offense. Baltimore Ravens. I mean, Kyle Hamilton falling to 14. It's too good a value to pass up. Harbaugh was like shocked. He's like, I can't believe you were available. And they just land Kyle Hamilton at 14. Ridiculous value. Considered to be the best overall athlete, one of the best players in some minds, in the minds of most in the whole class. Ridiculous at 14 to get him. Kenyon Green, this is part of the Eagles and Texans trade. Nice pickup for Davis Mills. Again, Caserio did a good job drafting. That's a good mind to rebuild the Texans. Jahan Dotson at 16. Higher than I would have taken him. I had him as an early 2nd rounder. But he goes 16. Still a solid player, good weapon for Carson Wentz. Can't hate on it too much, but I think they definitely reached. But they could look like geniuses for it. Jahan Dotson could be a pretty good player. My guy Zion Johnson from BC, offensive guard. Good to see an Eagle go so high. Huge pickup for Justin Herbert. He's excited about it. I'm excited for Zion. Gets to go to sunny Los Angeles and play for the Chargers. That's a fun group to be a part of. The Titans get this pick from the Eagles in the A.J. Brown trade. Traylon Burks. If there's any receiver in the first round, I could see not being like a stud. It's Traylon Burks. I think he's going to be fine, but I don't know. I'm not as high on him as some people, but we'll see how it goes. Some people think he's similar to A.J. Brown, so it's
I
kind
was
of
going to say that was the comp I heard.
Yeah, so we'll see, but I'm not as high on him as some. But, I think in the end, he'll be a solid player, but I just don't know if he's going to be an absolute stud. But I could be wrong, like I've said in the past, I do some research on these guys, but I'm by no means an expert. I'm not a scout. So take it with a grain of salt, if you will. Trevor Penning, I got this pick right just at the wrong spot. I had a feeling he was going to the Saints. It makes too much sense as a Teron Armstead replacement. He's a monster. He's a mauler. Love that pick for the Saints. Huge for them to keep Jameis Winston upright. Congratulations to him. He graduated Florida State recently. Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny Pickett. He stays in Pittsburgh. He just needs a different lock combination to get in, I think, or like a code on the keypad or something like that. What's going on in the Bruins game right now? Oh,
I don't know. I looked up and
they're huddling up. Like I was like, wait, did somebody get hurt? Well, I wasn't.
Oh no, they're just going on the power play. Yeah, but I looked up. I thought they just got away with too many men on the ice, and then apparently it was Carolina that had too many men on the ice. But all right, never mind. I'm, like I said, half paying attention at this point to this game.
Yeah, I mean, same here with the draft talk we're doing. Trent McDuffie to the Chiefs. This is what they traded up for the Patriots for. Trent McDuffie.
It kind of hurts.
The Patriots, but not one of the corners I was super high on. But obviously, I would have liked him over Cole Strange. Spoiler alert for anybody who somehow didn't know they took Cole Strange.
We know, believe me.
Trent McDuffie. I like Kyler Gordon too from Washington. Speaking of Washington corners, but that's what the Chiefs go up and get. They actually just lost Tyrann Mathieu officially today. He signed, with his hometown New Orleans Saints. He's a safety, but talking about the secondary here as a whole. Green Bay goes Quay Walker, another guy that's not a receiver. Maybe Quay Walker is their receiver of the future, though. Maybe they just pranked everybody. Like, we drafted as a receiver. Who says we don't get Aaron Rodgers first round receiver help? Because they don't, ever.
Looking at this,
arguably my favorite linebacker in the class, and he goes to a team I don't like, so that stinks.
Looking at these next, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, because it's obviously, like you said, the Patriots traded away 21, just realizing it now. I just find it hilarious that a corner, linebacker, and corner goes 3 straight picks kind of in the spot where the Patriots had a pick and traded out of it, and just adds to, as we'll get to later on, my thoughts, because I know if Chris Blackie's listening, he's just waiting on pins and needles for my just draft stuff, which
he is. If he's watching right now, he is.
Yep.
He's been texting me about all week.
But I find it hilarious, just kind of looking at that again. That 2 positions of need, 3 picks in a row, right where the Patriots kind of were originally put in the draft. But hey, what do I know? Like you said, I'm no draft expert. I'm just looking as afar of what that team needed and what they did and what they didn't get. So.
Being in the 20s, once we got to the 20th overall pick, I was like, oh boy, like this is where I was getting excited.
It's
well,
I'm glad I waited.
Another guy I would have loved the Patriots to have, Kyer Elam, goes to the Buffalo Bills.
That one hurts too.
23, that hurts. Don't love it, but it's a good pickup for the Bills. They needed a top corner to go along with Tre'Davious White, so they got him. Tyler Smith, definitely a reach by the Cowboys, but they could use some offensive line help, some depth, and a guy that can potentially start right away. I think Tyler Smith can. From what I gathered, looking at offensive linemen, he was branded as one of the more mean offensive linemen at the top of the draft. Like first few rounds, he seems like a mean offensive lineman, so maybe the Cowboys like that.
I say Dallas needs some of that.
I think he could have been available, and maybe with the Cole Strange stuff, him being viewed as a guy that wouldn't have been on the board much longer for the after the Patriots pick. Maybe Tyler Smith was considered like a late first, early second when it all came down to it. I thought he could have been available for the Cowboys second round pick, but maybe not. So they took him here. Not a bad pick at all, but could end up being a reach, definitely a reach on the surface in some regards right now. The Baltimore Ravens, I had them taking Tyler Linderbaum at 14 for months, drafting on my mock drafts, doing research throughout the year. And he goes to the Ravens when they trade back into the first round at 25. Of course.
Trade that Lamar Jackson was not happy about.
But I changed it. Lamar Jackson was not happy. We'll see what happens with that. Tyler Linderbaum is a rock star. He's not the biggest guy, for an offensive lineman, but I feel like centers are definitely like the smallest position typically for offensive linemen. But some people I think are concerned about his arm length. I think
I did see that. Yeah,
fine. Like it's whatever. But
Bergeron scored again. Yep.
Bergeron.
Max on.
It reminds me of Marshawn last year right now, dude, when Marshawn was just like doing everything while they were struggling.
Yep.
But I don't know. It's still early. It was later in the series when Marshawn was doing that. So back to the Ravens, though. I mean, they lose Bradley Bozeman to the Panthers. They're starting center in free agency. So they replace him with Tyler Linderbaum. This is a guy that could be an amazing center prospect. He's regarded as one of the best in years. Could be a really, really solid pick for the Ravens. I can't blame them for trading back in the first round. Let me just watch the replay here, though. That's a typical Bergie goal, baby. That's Bruins hockey, baby. Scrappy Bruins, get in there.
Need more of that.
2 more. There's enough time. I'm just saying. There's enough time.
They've done it in less time. Again,
they have done it.
Keep going back to that.
What are we seeing here with the Lightning? The Lightning. 4-1 over the Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs, Luke. Can't say I'm surprised. Looks
nice.
Like it might be. Jermaine Johnson, another team that traded into the first round. Again, the New York Jets take Jermaine Johnson. I hate it because it's a good pick and it's the Jets. Jermaine Johnson, his stock really rose after an amazing Senior Bowl performance from the sound of things. Could have went higher. I had him going 15 to the Eagles, but obviously the Eagles ended up trading that pick. This made sense as a range. I had him here like 23 to 28 range for a while, but I don't know if something changed in my mind. I was like, I feel like he's going to go higher. I'm going to move him up in my mock draft. Didn't end up working out. Wouldn't have had him go in 26. I had him going like 23 or 24 for a while, but good pick for the Jets. Devin Lloyd to the Jaguars, paid it. Would have loved it for the Patriots.
Yep.
Jaguars had a good first round. Hard to screw up the first round, first overall pick. Some people think they might have not getting Hutchinson, but Devin Lloyd is going to be awesome. I think he's going to be an immediate stud. I think he's my early pick, maybe for Defensive Player of the Year Defensive Rookie of the Year, not Defensive Player of the Year. I'm not going that far.
That'd be something. Yep.
That would be something though. But he might be my early pick for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Things can change as we get closer to the season, as the Bruins muck in front of the net. Foligno getting in the mix. Devontae Wyatt. The Packers, I think, just saw Georgia defensive players, and they're like, yeah, Georgia's defense.
We'll take those. Yep.
Yeah, we'll take those. Devontae Wyatt's awesome. So I really have nothing else to say besides that. It's just kind of like he may not be the best player available overall in the general consensus, but I think they probably saw him as the best player available. Like, this guy could be a stud for us for a while. Let's take him. And I can't really hate them for that. The Patriots, though. I mean,
pick of the night, baby. Pick of the night.
There's always the narrative of the Patriots going off the board. You always hope they won't. And they did.
Bill's playing chess while everyone's playing checkers.
Look, man, I think Cole Strange can start right away. I think he can at least overall be a serviceable right or left guard, depending on what they want to do. But I don't like the pick. I don't. They left so much talent on the board. Of course, Nakobe Dean wasn't really the subject of it as he fell to the third round. So the Bruins just absolutely get amongst it again. I don't like to see this now that we're only down 2. Let's focus on winning a little bit, but maybe the Chiefs. I'm looking at the next pick.
Yeah.
The Canes are trying to get them off their game a little bit as they generate some momentum. Cole Strange wasn't even. I don't know who was left for guards. Jamari Sawyer didn't end up going to like the third round. I think Ed Ingram went in the second round, which is kind of surprising. Josh Easy-Udo, I don't even know much about him, to be honest.
I'll put it this way. The fact that you had to in the first round, just you alone just had to go, oh, God, who was left for guards in the first round when, like you just said, there were plenty of actually skilled position guys left available. Should tell you right then and there.
I kind of feel like they saw Kenny Green and Zion Johnson go off the board and they're like, oh my God, like for some reason they thought guard was the primary need. Maybe they see someone in Cole Strange, like maybe he played lacrosse in middle school or something, or and they're
They
like,
must
we
have
have to
they
have
must
him.
have missed all the videos that I've seen on Twitter over the last couple of days of him getting ragdolled by guys that are linebackers and edge rushers that were drafted after him, from what
Yeah,
I
I don't
was
know, man. Like
seeing. So
it's really hard to justify, seeing him in Strange 69 jersey would be funny. At least that's good.
I guess,
But
yeah, sure.
I mean, I'll go back to it. I think Cole Strange could be a good starting offensive guard for the Patriots right out of the bat. But there's no secret, and it's never going to change, that they left a lot of talent on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm rooting for Strange. I think he's going to be, he'll be fine, be a fine player, if not good, pretty good, hopefully. But they just left a lot of talent on the board. There's no denying that. But, in Bill we trust, but for a lot of fans, it's hard to trust Bill in this pick.
Not anymore.
And I can't blame them because they went really off the board. And we talked a little bit about the guard position at pick 21 if they were to go for Johnson or Green. And they trade down and go for a guy you could have gotten in the second, third, or fourth round expectedly. But from what Belichick told us, some murmurings after, Strange wouldn't have lasted long. So those projections going into the draft,
which anyone can say,
somewhat nonsense.
Like, which
But
anyone
can say,
trying to justify that pick.
You can go multiple ways on,
Yep.
A lot of picks in the draft every year, but there's no secret that the Patriots left some value on the board. I hope Strange proves us wrong. I hope he's a stud. I hope he's an all-pro. But right now, the pick doesn't look great. I think he can be a good starter out of the gate. But it's gonna take some work, and it's gonna take the fit, and getting in the mix and making it work, because the kid's got a lot of pressure on him now. Like,
he
right
does.
out of the gate.
Yep.
And it's okay. I mean, it makes Mac Jones happy. They already had some dinner together, maybe some chili ones at the restaurant. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But there's no doubting, I can't help but come back to it. They left a lot of talent on the board. And the first one of those pieces, I'm not saying they should have drafted George Karlaftis, but George Karlaftis goes to the Chiefs at pick 30. Really solid edge rusher, had a big range on him. Could have went earlier, could have went, right around this range. So he ends up going 30 to the Chiefs. Another team, the Patriots, that did a pretty good draft on the surface so far. Nice pick for them. Really cool. He was with his grandfather when his pick was called. He is holding his grandfather's hand. Really nice, really nice moment between him and his grandfather. Love to see stuff like that. Dax Hill, this is another one, right after the pick. I would have loved Dax Hill on the Patriots. He can play safety. He can play corner. He's an absolute stud at Michigan. I would have loved Dax Hill on the Patriots. I really, really would have. And he goes to the Bengals, another team in the AFC, a team that has a need for an upgrade in their secondary. Decent secondary they started to build this year and show on the field, but Dax Hill is a legit piece for them to add to that group. Can help Jesse Bates III in the safety group. In Cincinnati, home run pick for them. I think this is right where Dax Hill should have went, and he did, and the Bengals took full advantage. Speaking of the Patriots, going back to the Patriots pick, what did you think of the whole Sean McVay thing? Because I think partially the reason they were laughing like that is because they were hammered. You could tell in their voices. But, I mean, they were kind of right. That was kind of the consensus, that you could find Strange in the third or fourth round, maybe second. But, of course, from what Belichick said, maybe that wasn't the case. What did you think of the whole thing then? And do you have the same thoughts now?
Oh, absolutely. The time when it happened, I found it hilarious watching the defending Super Bowl champions just laugh at you for a pick that, again, you could have made, that you did make, obviously. But again, my whole mindset is the same as yours. You had positions of need that you didn't address at that pick, and then really didn't address to the most part throughout the entire draft. I don't want to spoil my whole shtick right now. I know we'll do the Patriots related stuff in a second. But I found it so comical that it's a team, obviously, the Patriots beat in the Super Bowl. So, the Patriots got them there, but the fact now that the Rams are the defending champions, and the Patriots and Rams are just going in completely opposite directions, it seems like, or more so like this, I guess.
Yeah.
I found it hilarious that like, and it was just so fitting that McVay, he's like, yeah, I guess we didn't even have to waste our time looking in the third round for this guy because some team was stupid enough to take him.
Talking about,
pretty
sure it was pick 104 they had.
But I found it completely fitting, hilarious.
I know McVay won the Super Bowl this year, but like, dude, maybe like make fun of the Patriots when you can score more than 3 points against them in the Super Bowl.
That was a lot of people's argument I saw, but again, they are the defending champions. Like
they're the defending champions, and he was drunk. So if he was sober, maybe he wouldn't have acted that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that the Patriots did reach in a lot of people's minds. But according to Bill and maybe some people around league circles, it didn't seem like Strange was going to be available for long. We didn't see anybody take guards because the depth definitely fell off. After Strange, we saw the next guard taken at pick 59. Excuse me. Which was Ed Ingram to the Vikings at 59. Yeah, but it's tough. It's hard to justify this pick when it comes down to it. The Vikings get the Everett, Massachusetts kid, Lewis Cine, from Georgia, another safety. Not doesn't have the flexibility that Dax Hill has, but he's another stuff in that Georgia defense. Tampa just scored again. They're whopping Toronto. Reversal of fortune. All the people bought in on the Leafs, not me. Lewis Cine's a nice pick, man. I mean, the Vikings at some point early on needed a safety. They got Harrison Smith still around. He's pretty old. Other than that, they don't have a lot in that safety group, and Lewis Cine can be a big part of their future. So I love that. I love that to wrap up the first round. I'm not going to go through every second round pick. Just notable picks, though. The Jets pick up arguably the best running back in the class, Breece Hall. It's a nice pickup for them. Jalen Petrie is nice for the Texans. Christian Watson, there's Green Bay's receiver. They got like 3 in the draft.
Got Dubes in the 4th round.
Yeah, Dubes in the 4th round. Kyler Gordon to the Bears is nice. They need any help they can get on defense. What else? Andrew Booth Jr.
Killer there. Yep. Another guy you could have and probably should have had.
What could have been? I'm in such anguish over this pick. Looking at it again, Andrew Booth Jr. Oh, it could have been a Patriot. I want him on the Patriots so badly. Like I love the player so much. He's the best chance, I think, in this draft in terms of prototypical skills. And maybe that doesn't end up being the case, to having a JC Jackson replacement. And you pass up on him for an offensive guard.
Well, just think of it this way.
It'll never, ever not hurt. It'll never, ever not hurt unless Andrew Booth Jr., knock on wood, I'm not rooting for this or anything, were to, not have such a...
Doesn't pan out. Yep. Well, just think of it this way.
I love the player so much.
If the Patriots didn't trade out of 21, you could have had him. You could have had Trent McDuffie. You could have had Quay Walker. You could have had Kyrie Elam. You could have had Devin Lloyd. Yep. And then if you wanted to, I know a lot of teams didn't want to because of the injuries and stuff like that came out. And, there's some questions if those injuries were true according to the player. But you also could have maybe, if you wanted to take a chance on Nakobe Dean in the 1st round, might not have been the smartest thing, depending, like I said, on who you believe with the injury stuff. But again, just to put it out there, that's a linebacker. You needed linebackers. You took a guard. Like,
still haven't signed Jamie Collins or Dante Hightower. So
I wouldn't. Well, I mean, they might have to at this point with how the lack of proven depth at that position. But I wouldn't bring, definitely wouldn't bring Dante Hightower back. You and I were ready to write that guy off.
I like to whisper too.
It's okay. I'm getting late at night. I don't know how much I can yell, but trying to hold it in. Getting closer.
What movie that's from? I like to whisper too.
I don't know.
Why am I drawing a blank on that? I should know that. This is the part where you run away.
Yeah, there you go.
There's another one. If you don't know what movie that's from, that's just true.
That movie was on Saturday. I watched it.
Spoiler alert for anybody who didn't know.
Oh, I thought you were spoiling the movie. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Will watch Shrek
every time it's on.
Anytime. Yep. It is there are a lot of movies out there, but it is the number one movie. Maybe besides Revenge of the Sith, May the 4th. I will watch any time I see it on. Like,
it's one of the most rewatchable movies there is.
If it's on when I'm 80,
watch it for a good laugh.
I will watch it. I will never ever get sick of Shrek. I can quote pretty much the whole movie. Like it's an absolute classic comedy. Um, Back to the draft though, as we
Mhm.
run through some notable second round picks. The Ravens continue their great draft. David Ojabo tore his Achilles in Michigan Pro Day, sadly, but this kid, if you can mold him into the right player, could be an absolute stud off the edge, play outside linebacker. John Mechie, a guy people would have loved to reunite with Mac Jones. Nick Caserio knows that, he is a connection to Alabama players through Belichick and crew. So he takes John Mechie, great potential stud for Davis Mills to throw to. Josh Pascal was a reach, I thought, to the Lions in 46, but we'll see what happens there. Other picks. Alontae Taylor was a big reach for the Saints. Don't know about this one. Really big reach, I think. The Patriots reached on Tyquan Thornton. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I like the pick, though. The Eagles take Cam Jurgens, who does offensive line drills against cows. So that's pretty funny.
What the?
There's one video like
Didn't
that
hear
every
that
year.
story.
Last year was Quinn Minders. There's a video of him like boxing out a cow as like an offensive lineman. It's really funny. Like he's on some ranch. I assume his family like owns it or something, or a friend.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he goes to the Eagles. George Pickens. Did you see the video of George Pickens? Please tell me you saw the video of him standing in front of his TV watching himself get picked.
No, I don't think I did.
So funny. He's
I
like
missed
not
so
even,
much draft stuff.
He's just like standing in this like weird posture, and he's like, it's not like the typical like seeing a player get drafted, like the family like celebrating, they're all wearing like nice clothes, and he's just
Oh, wait, was he
standing
the guy that was in like a t-shirt and
yeah,
okay, I did see that. And yeah, I was scrolling through and saw that.
funny.
Yep.
Just a rock star move. It's like, yeah, I'm just chilling,
Like
like
didn't care. Yeah.
whatever. Like, oh cool, I got drafted by this team. I was like, let's rock and roll. Like
Mhm.
maybe he was just all business. He's like, I don't gotta get dolled up for this. I'm gonna get
Yep.
drafted and just go do work.
Yep.
I hope he doesn't, because he's on the Steelers. I despise the Steelers, but
Mhm.
maybe he does. Sky Moore. I hate Sky Moore going to the Chiefs. He could be a potential Tyreek Hill-esque replacement, like style receiver.
Mhm.
Not saying he's going to be Tyreek Hill, but he's like sort of similar mold.
Be interesting to see if the Patriots bone that receiver pick up too.
Yeah.
Picking another reach over, or looked at as another reach over.
Let me tell you.
Getting closer and closer to my overall thoughts on the draft. You couldn't tell how I feel.
Man, I just there's so much bad things going on. The Bruins are gonna lose. Like the draft wasn't great. Like
The Red Sox just gave up their second lead of the night. I keep getting updates on that.
Trey
Not that
McBride went to
really.
the Cardinals. I'm so upset about that. No, not really. But the Cardinals haven't had a good tight end in what feels like forever. I don't know. Maybe I'm forgetting someone. They get a good tight end in Trey McBride.
Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz, obviously, but like that was just this year,
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
You know what I'm getting at, I guess.
Yep,
but,
I got you.
I was a little unclear about that. Luke Godicke, didn't expect to see him in the second round, but he's the Central Michigan offensive lineman along with Bernhard Raymond. I would have guessed Bernhard Raymond goes in the second round, but it's Luke Godicke from Central Michigan to the Bucks for Tom Brady potentially a little bit this year. Maybe he's just a depth guy. Troy Anderson's a great pickup for the Falcons. I would have liked the Patriots to take him, but they did not. They did not take any linebackers. Makes me sad. And that's really it. Besides, like James Cook, good pickup for the Bills in the running game. Could spell bad news for Zach Moss. Yeah, but other than that, some notes you have in here in the outline. Malik Willis falls to the third round. Desmond Ridder falls to the third round. They go to Tennessee and Atlanta respectively. Ole Miss quarterback Matt Corral goes to Carolina. I think this could be an absolute steal at 94. I love Matt Corral. There's some questions on him, but I think if they mold him the right way, he's going to just be a stud. I really do think he's a guy that can be like a top 13, 14 QB in the league. I think Matt Corral could be a stud. Am I counting on it? No. But I think he could be. But I'm not going to say outright he will be. But if they mold him the right way, they get him the right scenario, get him the right help, I think Matt Corral could be a stud. He's got a great arm. He's mobile. I like some of the tools there, but at the same time, going back, I'm not a draft expert. I don't know everything about these guys. Romeo Dubes, another receiver going to the Packers. The Bruins and Canes are just going bananas. I like look
Couple of fights breaking out.
I don't know if Truck is still watching this, but Truck's gonna be there. We're gonna be in the same section, different rows. Game 3, like the Bruins are down in the series, but like
Bring
the way this is shaping
the
up,
energy, gentlemen.
this game could be an absolute bloodbath, and I'll soak up every second of it, and hopefully they win. They're going at it. Foligno and Brendan Smith have been talking for a while. Nick Nakash is getting in his ear, maybe telling him like, "Hey, like let's just chill. Game's over. We won by 3 goals. Like
We dominated
whatever.
pretty much all game.
Yeah, practically.
It was never a threat of them coming back.
Yeah. I mean, the Bruins. Switching the Bruins real quick too. Like the Bruins have gotten goals from 2 players through 2 games.
Not great.
We're being haunted by the Bruins of the past. We're not getting any depth scoring. Like we're not getting enough scoring spread out. I don't like it. But the Bruins lose 5-2. That sucks. Just to recap, going back to the NFL, a couple picks. Sam Howell falls to the 5th round. That was crazy. This guy projected by some in like early mock drafts and like after the 2021 draft and throughout the year, like early on, potential number 1 overall pick, potential first round pick. Even up right to the very end. I had him going 42nd to the Colts. He goes 144 to the Washington Commanders.
Hell of a
that
fall.
was wild. They could look like geniuses for that, though. You know, if Carson Wentz doesn't last long or Sam Howell's ready right when Carson Wentz is on his way out in Washington, Sam Howell could be a good QB, but it's worth a flyer. In 140, pick 144. It's absolutely worth a flyer. Take Sam Howell. Technically, PFT commentators been saying this. They got the best player in the 2021 draft, I think that's what he said. I'm drawing a blank on it now, like an idiot, but yeah, you get the point. He was seen as like the best player in the draft and whatever, but I don't know. I think I messed that up a little bit, but anybody who listens to this part of my take might understand what I'm saying. But Matt Araiza, the 3rd punter off the board somehow. Jordan Stout went to the Ravens, who's pretty good, and then Jake Camarada, I think the other kid's name is. I forget where he went. Matt Araiza goes to Buffalo. Like the punt
team that doesn't punt.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
The team that doesn't punt.
Fitting. Yeah.
I wanted him bad. I wanted him so bad. Like I wanted him on the Patriots like so massively. And he goes to the fucking Bills. Like kicking the balls, like it's not anything against Jake Bailey like we mentioned in the past, but this guy's almost too good to pass up on if he hits his stride. There's not a whole lot of mechanics and skill as much of a skill position. There is mechanics, but not as much skill as a skill position for a punter. But I would have loved him as a Patriot. The Patriots did amass some mid to late round picks through trades and stuff, so you thought maybe they used one on a punter. They didn't. It got to a point where I was expecting them. Like I was playing Rocket League with my buddy Wera, who listens to the show here and there. I was like, I can't wait for them to take the center fielder from Arizona State's baseball team at this rate. Like, what are we doing here? Like,
nope.
I didn't know what to expect. Like, I had a couple guys in mind for each pick, like as we got later, and then they just never took them, obviously, because it's a crapshoot that late in the draft. But it's like we're gonna just take somebody that doesn't even play football at this point.
Yeah. Yep. That's
it was so
how it goes.
absurd. As we segue into the picks, we talked about Cole Strange, I think, enough, but an interesting NFL comparison to him was JC Treader. If we get JC Treader upside out of Cole Strange, I'd be very happy with the pick. Do I think it would be the best pick they could have had? Still, no. But JC Treader, pretty solid. I think he actually just retired this year, but was a pretty solid offensive lineman for a while. Tyquan Thornton at 50, definitely a reach, on the surface, but a guy that had a crazy, combine performance, had really good athleticism on display, ran I think it was a 4.28. Comparison to Tyquan Underwood, though, which is not great. Tyquan Underwood fizzled out pretty quickly. But man, like he can separate. He's really quick off the line, really quick feet, can make plays in the end zone. I like it. I think it could look great, but it's another one was it the best pick? I don't know. But they could look like bandits for this. Tyquan Thornton could be a pretty good player, but I don't know. I gotta wait and see it a little bit to see if I love it or not. But the upside is there. The athleticism is there. There are some tools from the looks of things, but we'll see what happens. Marcus Jones, was really happy with the Marcus Jones pick. I like him. I like what I've read about him. He had the best like single coverage grade in all college football for the last like 3 years. I think I saw it today actually, which is a nice stat to see. Pro comparison from CBS, Devin Hester, which is kind of crazy. Dante Hall as well. Pretty interesting comparables. I like Marcus Jones. He was a guy I saw marked around this range. Read some good things about. I like it. It's corner depth. I haven't heard anything bad about the guy. I like the player.
It's one of the few picks I'll take.
Depth.
Yep.
I'll take it. Then they went with another Jones, Jack Jones, a guy that has a little bit more, uncertainty surrounding him with some off-field concerns and stuff. But I don't know. It's corner depth. I don't know a lot about Jack Jones. I'm not gonna lie, but there seems to be some questions around his character and stuff like that. I think it was his grades as well at school. Am I mistaken there? Apologies if I am. I think it was something about like his grades.
Maybe I know it was same way. I knew there was personal stuff. That's what I saw on Twitter.
Had this in the outline, but anyone who knows. It's not that big of a deal. It's all right. It's corner depth. If it's one of these like kind of questionable picks, I trust Bill enough to maybe be taking a flyer here on a guy that he can mold into a pretty good player. So
in the fourth round, though.
In the fourth round, that's
when he was projected as a round 7, whatever, a priority free agent. Even I don't even know what.
We talk so much about projections.
True.
In the end, some of them end up being nonsense.
It looks bad on paper because again, I don't know what a priority free agent is. So a round 7 priority free is it just like an undrafted guy, pretty much?
I assume so.
Okay, so cool. You took an undrafted guy in the 4th round. That's good. Sorry, again, getting ahead of myself. Continue.
Whatever. I mean, maybe that's the reason they got some of these picks and trades to maybe take a gamble on a guy like this. Maybe they felt like they could get ahead of a team. Trying to look in the same situation as Jack Jones. Maybe they snag him, see if they can mold him. Maybe this is another thing like Cole Strange in a different sense. Like, oh, maybe this was around where he was going to go and they wanted to snag him before Pierre Strong Jr. Maybe see if they can get something out of Jack Jones. We have 4 Joneses now, so that's what the Patriots lead the league in.
Nice.
Not a great offseason overall, but at least we lead the league in Joneses. We should have drafted Goofish Jones, though. They didn't draft Goofish Jones. Pierre Strong Jr., I like this pick. I do. I wasn't screaming for a running back, but I'm glad they took one. They ended up taking 2, which I'll get to in a second. Makes me a little nervous about something. But I like Pierre Strong Jr. I saw somebody compare him to Nick Chubb. I don't know about that. Just watching him, I didn't know much about him until they took him. But I watched the player. I was like, stylistically, I was like, I don't know if I see Nick Chubb. Maybe a little bit of similarities, but I think Tevin Coleman's a decent comparison to him. Watching Tevin Coleman over the years, Chuba Hubbard, I haven't watched as much of him, but he has some solid moments as a rookie in Carolina.
I found the Jack Jones tweet, by the way.
They're encouraging notes about the Pierre Strong pick. I like it on the surface so far, and it can't hurt to have running back depth because the Patriots are pretty good at bringing in running backs and making them work.
So on that Jack Jones thing, this was from Albert Breer, and then the explanations in the comments. He said the Patriots obviously are taking troubled Arizona State cornerback Jackie Jones at 121. In the comments, Patrick Norton said that he was apparently kicked off of USC for grades, got arrested for burglary in 2018, suspended a full 2020 season for an altercation with a teammate. So,
altercation with a teammate is really just nothing to me. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Well, the first 2 things are.
But
burglary's not a great thing.
I'm just putting that out there. Yeah, burglary's not great.
It's not looked highly on. Bad grades aren't great. Yeah, kicked out
of school, but not great. But they, like we said, there's definitely some concerns. But thank you for clearing that up.
No problem.
Yeah, but if maybe Belichick just looks like a beast for this pick. If he turns out to be a pretty good player,
looks like something right now.
Bailey Zappi at 137, not a pick I was expecting again. But the Patriots drafted like 10 quarterbacks when Tom Brady was obviously the guy. It's fine.
Still can't bring myself to accept it though. I have a reason, but I can't.
It's fine.
All right.
It's fine. Is it pick you should love.
Fourth
Maybe you like Bailey
round.
Zappi and you love it, but like in the fourth round, yeah, maybe they could have taken Sam Howell, but like Sam Howell projects more like a starter than Bailey Zappi does. This is a project QB, maybe that does good in camp and they can end up trading or at some point in the future. Is a good guy to learn from Mac Jones to push Mac Jones a little bit. Obviously, Mac realistically isn't gonna be like, oh, my job's in jeopardy unless he were to suck. But
which isn't gonna happen.
Which I don't see happening, but
unless the coaching staff puts him in a terrible spot.
With a lot of picks this year to take a chance on Bailey Zappi. Yeah, it is a tough scene as Chris Blackie joins the chat after the Bruins game. What's up, Chris? We're talking the draft stuff. You're getting a little Ryan draft talk.
Perfect timing.
You got to listen to the full episode, though, if you haven't been, though.
We're getting there.
I'm fine with Bailey Zappi. I'm fine with it. I really am. It's okay. But, we're not – Brian Hoyer isn't going to be around forever. Jared Stidham is a free agent
offensive coordinator, pretty much.
He's practically your offensive coordinator.
Brian Hoyer's not a quarterback anymore.
At this rate, unless Zappi were to suck and they were to cut him, which I doubt, I think Jared Stidham's getting cut. I think it's
absolutely.
I think this puts the nails in the coffin. The nails in the coffin as I'm talking too fast. I'm getting excited about draft stuff as I usually do. Yeah, Jared Stidham is almost definitely gone. It sucks. I have nothing against Jared Stidham, but it just hasn't worked out. Injuries, depth in front of him,
reliability.
It's nature of the beast. It just happens, But he's one of these guys too. Looking back at it too, he's taken in the fourth round. Wasn't guaranteed to be like, oh, this is the guy of the future. This is the guy that could have been, but it wasn't a guarantee for Jared Stidham. I liked the player, but not a guy I was like, oh yeah, he's it. He's the guy after Tom Brady.
That was me. I got duped by that.
Yeah,
I was one of those people.
I don't know. I held out hope for Jared Stidham for a while. I think if we didn't have Mac Jones and we're in a different situation and Jared Stidham was battling for the starting job, maybe this was the last chance for him. But I think the last chance in New England is done. Obviously, with Mac Jones last year, it kind of started to end then. Maybe some people sooner than that, but yeah, it's over now. It's over now. They're taking Bailey Zappi. Cool name, Zippy Zappo, Zappy Zappo, whatever you want to call him. I'm going to call him multiple nicknames along the lines of that. Kevin Harris. I got to be honest. I knew nothing about Kevin Harris until they took him.
I went to school with Kevin Harris. This is definitely not him.
Oh, really?
I'll just put it out there. Yep. Kevin Harris was a small little.
Carlos Hyde.
Okay, I'll take that, I guess. In the sixth round.
Carlos Hyde is had some decent moments, but a guy that's not all that great anymore. I don't know. I don't know enough about Kevin Harris to really say too much about the pick, but the fact that they took two receivers or two running backs.
They didn't take two receivers. They could have. They didn't. They should have. They didn't.
Running backs maddened me. Nothing against the running backs. I have no reason to say that, but it tells me that Damian Harris is not going to be re-signed.
Goodbye. Thanks for coming.
Which is crazy that they've made that seemingly made that decision already.
You're arguably
Harris dropped a 15 bomb with.
You're arguably our best offensive player. Thanks for coming.
I don't know.
We'll get a fourth round pick for you when we trade you.
I love Damian Harris. I don't think they'll trade him. I think they'll just run him the whole season, and I don't think they're going to trade him unless they really suck by the trade deadline.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they would have already done it by now.
Yeah,
when was the Michelle trade?
Well, they could still do it. I don't remember when that was.
That was in camp.
Harry. They also didn't trade N'Keal Harry.
That's true. They just declined his option.
Was in camp? Yeah. The Michelle trade?
I think not. I meant the end of the preseason they dealt him. I think the last preseason. Sure? I think so.
I thought that was.
No, I could have sworn
it was the Sony Michelle trade during the season.
No, I could have sworn the Michelle trade was the final week of the preseason they dealt him because they needed to get down to roster cuts, and one of them was to trade Michelle.
Oh, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
I had things mixed up in my head.
You better hope one of these two running backs doesn't pop in training camp or in the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I feel like running backs, it's not like every pick you take. It's you have a really good surefire chance of finding a stud. But I feel like in this case and what they have depth wise, they have Ramondre Stevenson. I think part of the reason they might be willing to let go of Harris is because of Stevenson.
Mhm.
But, James White's only around for another year after this upcoming season. There's no
Yep.
guarantee he plays beyond that. He could just retire. They could let him go and he wants to play somewhere else. I doubt he would really want to at this point.
JJ Taylor's probably done here, if I had to
JJ
guess.
Taylor's probably done. That was my first thought when they took a second running back. Which sucks because JJ Taylor doesn't blow people away, but I like him. He's fine.
Yep.
I hope he tags along somewhere else because I think he's a good NFL depth.
Very serviceable running back. Yep.
Very serviceable. Hard worker. But yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't know really anything about Kevin Harris. But
how about the next guy? You know anything about him?
Makes me think that the running back room is going to look a little different come the fall of 2023. And even before then, Sam Roberts, defensive lineman. I know nothing about Sam Roberts.
Nobody else did. NFL.com didn't have a grade, didn't have a comparison, didn't have a draft projection. CBS did not have a number grade. They had a letter grade for the pick of a C-, did not have a pro comparison. Nobody knew anything about this guy, apparently. So that doesn't scream Bill Belichick in the 6th round. I don't know what does.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw the pick. I was like, yep, no idea who this is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those guys, like, you hope he's just a diamond in the rough. Bill takes a late chance. Like, fuck it. It's a 6th round pick. Let's just take a chance on a defensive lineman from Northwestern Missouri.
Nice. Solid.
Whatever, dude. Like, it's whatever. I mean, maybe he'll be the next Cal Duggar. I don't know why I said Cal, like a Southern guy.
Cartman?
But Cal.
Cal.
Fuck you, Cal. Not saying that to Cal Duggar, just talking South Park. Yeah, but obviously Kyle Duggar, way different situation, 2nd round pick. Freak athlete out of Illinois Ryan. But yeah, I don't know. Sam Roberts, I know nothing about him besides the fact that his first name is Sam, last name Roberts. He's a defensive lineman and he went to Northwestern Missouri. That's all I know.
Go.
But
that's all you need to know.
The next guy, I like Chasen Hines at LSU. He's a good depth lineman on this team. And that's fine.
Okay.
I'll take it. LSU is a good school.
All right.
A little bit different since the Joe Burrow year, the national championship year, when they went completely bonkers. But I like Chasen Hines. I do. I think he's absolutely worth a 210 pick. And you see what happens with them. Maybe he ends up being a good depth lineman. Maybe he ends up becoming a starter. I like it. It's fine. It's very fine with me. And so is Andrew Stuber. You had to figure they would take a Michigan or an Alabama guy. They took no Alabama guys this year, but to take Andrew Stuber, I've heard good things about him. Another good guy to take for depth at pick 245, which they acquired from the Texans. Fine with me. Very much fine with me. Oh, Greg gets sacks. If only Greg was listening right now. I don't think he is. He's talking about my uncle, of course. That's Chris in the chat. I will say, though, the undrafted free agent signings, I love them. Love some of them. I don't know all of them. D.R. King, I've been calling for D.R. King to be a Patriot for 3 years. He can play running back for them.
Do pretty much everything, it seems like.
He can play QB. He can play positions on defense if he wanted to. He can play special teams. That's what he wants to do, too. Talking to the media, he's like, I'll do whatever they want me to do. You know me. I've been calling for De'Ara King for years. I love him. He's so fast. He's so shifty. He's a gadget option if they want to keep him around on the roster. Come week 1, absolutely freaking love De'Ara King. I am chief. I haven't declared it officially in the past, but I'm declaring myself chief of the bandwagon officially now that he's on the Patriots for De'Ara King. I told my coworker Danny, who's in the stream earlier, if he plays a full season with the Patriots, I'm buying the jersey. It's happening. Because why not just keep him around as a gadget guy for a few years if you're going to keep him around for a full season? Maybe if he's on the practice squad all year, I won't do it. But if he's in the mix a little bit and they use him as a little gadget guy, maybe I will. Liam Shanahan, LSU, another guy, friend of Chasen Hines.
Another lineman.
Take it. I mean, it can't hurt to have. Maybe he's a practice squad guy when it's all said and done. Punter Jake Julian, of course. Punter from Eastern Michigan has to catch Belichick's eye. Don't hate it. It's whatever. competition with Jake Bailey. LeBron Ray, a guy I had mocked in my, ideal mock last week to the Patriots. So they got him undrafted. A little surprised he went undrafted, but they snag him. They get their Alabama guy. I think LeBron Ray has a really good chance to make the roster. Early expectations, an Alabama guy, a good depth defensive tackle. I think LeBron Ray has a chance to make the roster. But, if they want to keep the streak alive too, I think LeBron Ray is a safe bet right now.
That's what I was going to say is get a good bet. One guy tends to always make it.
Yeah. It could be him and Derek King. Look, I'm not counting on King to make the roster, but if he does, I think they could have some fun usage for him in the offense. And maybe even defense don't want to get really crazy, but I'm not counting on it. He's not a defensive guy, but he's so goddamn fast and elusive. They could just really get crazy with him. DeMarcus Mitchell, know nothing about DeMarcus Mitchell, I'm not gonna lie, but he's a linebacker, and that's okay. Like, that's really it. Cody Russie from Houston, know nothing about him, but it's center depth. Maybe he's a good guy to have for insurance for David Andrews if you need it. And a wide receiver / safety, Brendan Schooler from Texas. Sounds like a Belichick guy.
I was just going to say, that sounds like Matthew Slater 2.0.
It does.
If he can get him anywhere near
Slater.
Honestly.
But while you go through your draft grades and thoughts we have at the end of the outline here, I got to take another bathroom break.
All right. Well, I'll get seeing it's May the 4th. I'll get this going for terrible. Just look like I'm gonna kill some younglings as I kill this Patriots draft. All right. This is what Chris Blackie was waiting for.
What's we going to do?
No, you don't want to know. All right. So this is for Chris Blackie. Because like I said, he's been waiting for a while to get my Patriots thoughts on the draft. Mike talked me off the ledge draft night because I was obviously not happy with the Cole Strange pick. Kind of as the night went on, figured they're going to trade down. I was kind of hoping, as if anybody listened to the pre-draft stuff, they would take a linebacker or a corner, if you couldn't tell with me just talking throughout this. So at first, I argued that with Mike, it was maybe the worst draft ever. I think I've kind of come back from that. That obviously we don't know what any of these players are yet. We're in kind of wait and see mode. So I will take it back, and I will say this has been the worst executed draft that the Patriots have ever had. Mike and I, like we said, we talked about this. The need for the both of us was linebackers and corners. They did get some corners late. Marcus Jones, like he was talking about. I don't hate that pick. Jack Jones pick. Again, some questions there, so we'll have to wait and see on that. The fact that you took an offensive lineman, and again, he could maybe be a good starter. There's a lot of people that are thinking he could slot in at left guard, be half decent. When you have guys like some corners that were on the board that I mentioned earlier, you could have got, as we go back and look at here, you could have got Trent McDuffie at the original 21 pick. You could have got Elam, like we talked about. Devin Lloyd was still there. Quay Walker was still there. The fact that they took an offensive guard, welcome back, Mike. The fact that they took an offensive lineman with the 29th pick is absolutely just a horrible decision, in my opinion. A wide receiver in the second round, don't hate that pick. But again, I hate the fact that it was more so of a reach, like everyone kind of talked about. Do like the speed. I'll see where that goes. But again, when you're taking a guy that's projected as a 3rd round, 4th round guy in the 2nd round, maybe not the best thing. So I'll have to wait and see on that. Don't understand the 2 running backs. Wouldn't have hated 1 running back. Didn't hate the Pierre Strong pick. Don't know why they needed 2 running backs. A quarterback in the 4th round. I know, again, people will say, and people have argued so far that, again, like we just talked about, Jarrett Stidham's done here. He's going to be Mac Jones's backup. So we're cool with drafting backups at positions that you don't really need to address right away. Like, I feel like a backup quarterback for Mac Jones, you could find anywhere. Like, Mac Jones isn't going anywhere. Exactly. It's the Patriots found a backup quarterback. They undrafted guy.
They so a Hoyer as the primary backup, and then
you could have just kept Stidham for another year and just let him go at the end of it.
Like I said, I'm okay with the Zappy thing, but yeah, they could have used it on a linebacker even. Like,
that's what I mean. There's other positions of need. And you took him took a quarterback in the 4th round when you had other positions that you desperately needed to get even like an edge rusher. I wouldn't have hated it in the 4th round, but nope, you went with a quarterback. Another running back in the 6th round makes no sense. Again, like running backs, we've talked about this. You can find anywhere.
Sorry, Chris is in the chat. I texted him to make sure he was still in the chat. See your Jedi robe. He said, "Oh man, look right out entirely."
Yeah,
like looking at you. He's like just shocked right now.
But
Pretty
No, I
legendary
mean,
move. I'm not gonna lie with the robe.
thank you. Perfect that it fell on May the 4th. I haven't had many uses for this robe since I got it, so good that we're going now.
What, you don't wear it to Stop and Shop?
No, I don't. I don't wear it to
Or
work. No. Shaw's. There you go. Yep. But no, I mean, it was just confusing move after confusing. Again, like offensive lineman depth isn't the worst thing, but like you need two of them late in the draft. Again, like take a chance on a position you needed. You already drafted one with your first overall pick. Like it was just a frustrating night. Like you said, anytime you thought they were going to do something, they did the opposite. At this point, like that's typical Patriots. So I don't know why I'm surprised by that at that point anymore. But when you left, like I said, I kind of came back off my original thought that it was the worst draft ever, then more so that it's probably the worst executed draft ever for the Patriots. I don't know if you would agree or disagree with that. Because like I said, to call it the worst draft ever when we haven't seen any of these guys play yet is probably a little bit of a stretch. But again, like we talked about it to an extent last week, that you needed so much help at so much just obvious positions of linebacker and receiver and corner, and you got help at corner. You got one guy like at receiver. You could have taken, one of those offensive linemen and switched that up with a wide receiver. You could have taken a quarter or a wide receiver or a linebacker at the spot you took a quarterback. Like it was just like I feel like asleep at the wheel half the time. Like they reached on a ton of these guys. Look at the draft profiles of a lot of them. You look at where they all ranked. Strange, second round projection. Thornton, third to fourth round projection. A couple of these guys, like I said, were round 7 and round 6 priority free agents. Like those, like we just said, are pretty much undrafted guys at this point. Like it's just baffling to me how they went about doing things this year, and just like deserves all the criticism they've been getting. Everyone's ripping them. Mel Kiper has him as their worst, his worst rated draft, I think. I saw a lot of C minuses for drafts when it came to the Patriots grading. Like it was just not a good draft. I mean, to some degree, I get maybe where they were going. It seemed like they wanted to put some talent or some protection around Mac Jones and help him out a little bit with some of these picks, which I guess is good. But again, you just need so much help at other like positions, and it's just such obvious needs that they didn't address. Like to not take one linebacker is just inexcusable.
Yeah, it is. That's one huge thing for me. Like it's an insane oversight.
Mm-hmm. I'm taking this off now. I'm sweating to death in this stupid robe.
I totally agree with your points for the most part. Like Chris said in the chat, missed opportunity talking about the draft. And said Sal coming in with Mustafar heat is extremely.
Nope. I need someone to edit like yellow eyes, and like I said, my lightsaber broke, so I couldn't use that. But
I don't know if I've ever told you this, dude. When I was a kid, Anakin's Sith eyes, when he was, coming Darth Vader,
terrifying.
First, like when he's like looking off into the distant Mustafar, I was like, oh my god! I think the first time I saw them, I cried. Like literally, I was like, well, I mean, we were like 8 years old, so like, a little more
understandable. Yep.
Understandable. I was like, holy shit! Like, what's going on? And I was like, what's happening?
Why are that color?
I didn't understand what Sith eyes were at that point, because like you don't see the Sith eyes. Do you really see them in
not really
the trilogy?
No, so like, not really.
New concept. I'm like, what's going on? What's happening? Like, I was so confused because as a character, I loved him as a kid. And I still do now. Hayden Christensen's a rock star. That's not up for discussion. Anybody who says otherwise is an idiot. I'll stand by that till the day I die. And it's gonna be proven even more in the Kenobi series. 23 days away, baby. We got the fucking trailer. Was unbelievable today. I was literally shaking. Yeah, just to my thoughts, you gave them a D in the outline. I gave them a C minus. Not capitalizing on a linebacker or two with actual draft picks instead of when I drafted guy is a miss.
Absolutely is.
It's a miss, but it's early. We'll see what happens. I mean, but it's just always going to come back to linebacker. I would have loved to. It just one. Like it didn't have to be two. It could have just been one. Like first 4 rounds. Like someone. You can't just run it with the same group. Maybe this DeMarcus Mitchell kid ends up being awesome. Maybe he ends up being the guy that makes the roster. As a free agent. I don't know. Regardless of what happens with certain players, just go back to it. People will look back on what it could have been more so in this draft for the Patriots. Of course, other picks. It's not just going to be only the Patriots draft. Not getting Matt Araiza or Slade Bolden gives me some real pain.
Did anyone
Slade
take him?
Bolden, no one's picked up Slade Bolden to my knowledge.
I didn't think so.
Mark Daniels reported that they will not be signing him, so that dream is dead, at least for now.
That's the end of that.
They didn't sign Justin Ross either, but it took the Chiefs a little while to sign him. Sucks that he goes to the Chiefs, but he's got some concerns around his status with that spinal injury. But he's a great player. When he's healthy, he's a great player, and I think he could make the Chiefs look like bandits. It's really like, it's astonishing to me that a bad team doesn't take a flyer on Justin Ross. Like,
yeah, you would think.
Like,
take a chance. What's the worst that could happen?
These teams just not fucking get it. Like, this guy showed at his best at Clemson that, like, Justin Ross early in his career at Clemson looked like he was going to be a legit stud in the NFL someday. Like, was really, really good. Good size, really athletic, good, like, jump ball skills. Looked like a great player, but injuries and, a variety of factors have affected his stock, and the Chiefs of all teams landed him. But I was hoping he'd end up with the Patriots as an undrafted free agent. He didn't. But yeah, going back to another point too, if there's potential for a great pick, it's Tyquan Thornton for me.
Mm-hmm. That's the one you hope, pans out the most.
Maybe this is a guy too. I'm not counting on Jacoby Myers not being in the mix next year, but if they can't retain Jacoby Myers or were to decide to trade him, I don't know what the point of that would be, but you never know with the Patriots. Jacoby Myers could cash out. Maybe Tyquan Thornton is a long-term thought for them. Maybe guys like Jack Jones and Marcus Jones are, on the docket for potentially replacing Jonathan Jones next summer because he's a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I'm giving it a C- right now because it wasn't a great draft. It was an underwhelming draft. I expected more, didn't get it.
I really didn't. I didn't even really.
More. They needed more. Bill. Need more. Bill, please. I needed it. And you did not deliver. But I hope I'm proven wrong. But
in the moment, I didn't really, like I said, didn't address it, but at the time, in the moment, you're like, again, you're mad that they're trading down, but then you see some of these guys that started dropping. You're like, okay, maybe the Patriots at 29 have a chance to get some of these guys you might want. Obviously, the Devin Lloyd at 27, I thought he was going to continue to fall, kind of stung. But again, it just goes back to with all the guys in the positions that were falling, we talked an extensive amount about Booth and the fact that he just kept falling and didn't get picked. You're like, holy crap, this guy's going to fall into the Patriots' lap at 29. And they take a guard. Or like I said, nobody really knew what the hell was going on with Nakobe Dean, but the fact that he wasn't getting taken, you're like, all right, maybe the Patriots get him. Maybe they like the Muma guy that went to Jacksonville in the third round. Obviously, he fell, but there were some connections with him. Okay, even still, with how the Patriots reached,
you never know, yeah.
Exactly, but you're sitting there, you're like, okay, so maybe trading down isn't the worst thing this year because a lot of these guys are falling. No one really knows where anybody's going, and then just to take a guard at 20, like I said, I just can't. Yeah. I just can't justify. Again, they needed a guy at left guard. Obviously, a lot of people think this kid's going to come in and start, maybe day one if he has a good enough preseason and camp. But the Patriots have been notorious for finding guards in the 3rd through 6th rounds and being perfectly fine with it. Who the hell knows? Maybe, like you said, one of these guys in the 6th round they took, pans out and ends up performing really well and surprises some people. Again, just to take him in the 1st round, it's not a flashy pick and it's not something you really desperately needed out of the gate, which is again the most aggravating thing for me. Yeah. And again, just to add on that it was a lot of people saw him as a mid-2nd round guy, maybe early 3rd round guy, and then like I said, the crap that Belichick spews if we didn't think we were going to get him. It's that's just to me is just such trying to justify the picks to people.
Too. I'm 50-50 on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I get the injury concerns arose as the reason why Booth Jr. fell to 42, but on top of the Patriots missing out, the Vikings just were bandits in the secondary early on. They get Lewis Cine at 32, they get Booth at 42. That's ridiculous.
Yep,
ridiculous top 42 value. Top 42 value. It's like I'm trying to be some sort of brainiac, but it was really just top 42.
Putting the ranks,
more so 32 to 42, but I mean, it just. it's never not going to hurt me. Like when they traded down, I saw him available 29. I was like, it's Booth Jr. Like it's got to be Booth Jr. or Dean. Like
Mhm.
Nakobe Dean's health concerns weren't overstated as much, or present, I should say, as much
Mhm.
until draft day. Like people still expect him to be an early second, late first, maybe early, or not early, but mid first round pick.
Mhm.
He goes 83 to the Eagles. Like I was like, it's got to be Dean or Booth. Like please let it be Dean or Booth. Like, and then they made the
Nope.
trade with 50. I was like, oh please be. I don't even remember who I was looking for at that point. Like all of it's just some of it's just a blur to me at this point.
Mhm.
And they take Taekwon Thornton. I was like, oh my god, it could have been this guy. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank who the player is, but then I was like, I remembered. I was like, okay, Taekwon Thornton could be good, but they still reached on him.
Yep.
It was just like every time early on until Marcus Jones at 85. I was like, oh my god, like they really did it. They really did it. They left value on the board, so much value on the board. And they took Marcus Jones. I was like, all right, that's cool. Like that feels like a guy they could have taking them around that range. Should have went around that range. Cool with it. It's a corner. We need corner. Cool with it. Very cool
Yep.
with it. But like, dude, I mean, it's it's hard to get positive about it. It really is. But with Taekwon Thornton, the guy I think could end up being the best player in the draft class for the Patriots. I don't know if it's going to be like an immediate contributor type of role for him, but
I
I
can't
don't
see
know.
how it's going to be with how, I mean, we talked about it. The
He's
fact
gonna
that
have a really good camp.
that's what I mean. Like we talked about that last week, that Devontae Parker, his addition may have put the wide receiver need a little bit more on the back burner than we thought it was going to be originally, because any receiver they took was going to have a hard time breaking into the I still think in basketball, the rotation, I guess, for lack of a better term. But like, so
The thing
again,
with
I'm with you. The
Thornton-
kid has to blow everybody away, and that might be tough to do being a rookie in this system. We've seen that before, how guys struggle.
Yeah, the thing with Thornton too is we've heard in the past about Nelson Aguilar. We heard him linked to the Robbie Anderson stuff. Maybe they don't see Nelson Aguilar long term. I think his contract expires after this year.
Mm.
I don't.
Yeah,
think
he's
at
got to
this
be the
point,
odd man out. Yep.
unless he goes off, I don't think they're going to bring him back. So maybe this is a thing. Like, maybe ideally going into next season. Sorry, I keep adjusting this. Like my brightness just keeps going weird, and I feel like adjusting it because it just bothers my OCD seeing my face look all dark on my end because the lighting in my rouge does make sense even though I have thousands of lights on.
Yep.
Like Taekwon Thornton could be not like in terms of skill set replacement, but a guy to replace Nelson Aguilar when you let him go, because I think realistically they're going to let him go. And maybe it's Jacoby Myers insurance if he somehow walks. You're probably going to get rid of N'Keal Harry too. He's not a big primary piece, but
declined his 5th-year option, which we didn't even talk about. But
yeah, because
writing's on the wall for him.
I kind of can't believe he hasn't been traded, but at the same time, I've had multiple time frames. I'm like, all right, like maybe this is the N'Keal Harry trade time period, and it just never happens.
No, so never comes.
They'll trade him. I just looked up the Michelle trade and we talked about it. They'll trade him like August 25th.
Yeah,
same day. There were rumors about Andy Isabella being potentially moved to potentially on day 2 of draft day or draft week, and he didn't move. I was like, all right, this is gonna be like N'Keal Harry, Andy Isabella, bing bang boom.
1-for-1, yeah.
But I don't know what's gonna happen there, but I don't know. Taekwon Thornton, 2 or 3 years from now, maybe year 3 if he's around here that long. I assume he will be at this point. Will be the year he sort of breaks out. Maybe it could be this year, but I don't know. I think that was definitely a pick for the future. Just an insurance thing too, and obviously looks like a guy with a pretty awesome athletic profile, so he could be a pretty damn good player.
We'll have to wait and see, but who knows?
We will. And man, I wish the Patriots draft was more exciting. I really do. I was really excited about the draft this year. It was really unpredictable. Tons of trades. Saw AJ Brown traded, Marquise Brown. It was just wild. Trades out for receivers, quarterback slide. A lot of good players slide that weren't expected to. It was wild. A lot of teams, unsurprisingly, around the Patriots had good drafts on the scope on the surface of things so far, which isn't great. But one additional thing before we wrap up: the Patriots already potentially working to improve their draft team potentially.
Oh, yeah.
This was
Wow,
earlier
no
today.
way.
Yeah. Expecting an announcement soon. #Bucks area scout Tony Kinkella heading north for a more senior role with Patriots. #Patriots. Kinkella spent 13 years in Tampa Bay and helped the team win the Best Draft Award for their work in 2020. Wirfs, Winfield, etc. Wirfs and Winfield, not a big
Very
deal.
good players. Yeah.
Two very good players. Has worked for the Washington State Cougar football team and the Tulane Green Wave football team. This is from Neil Stratton at Inside the League on Twitter. Was this in the plans from the start? Maybe it's like, hey, like we'll bring in after the draft, we'll announce it. But like this was in the plans before, or were they like maybe they look back and they're like, hey, yeah, we weren't so happy with that draft. We weren't so happy with how the board fell. Maybe let's try and improve things, get out ahead of it early on, and we'll crush the draft in 2023. We'll crush free agency, whatever, because they should have a good amount of cap space. And what do you think of this? Do you think this was a pre-organized move that started to linger out after the draft, or they're like, oh wait, maybe we could have done better in the draft this year. Let's try and pluck somebody out of Tampa Bay, who's this guy helped have an amazing draft in 2020 in particular, was there for 13 years. To me, this seems like something that has been in the works for a while. I don't think this was a new thing, but the timing of it kind of leads one to believe it might be, at least to some smidgen,
The one question I'll ask you on that then is if this was in the works for a while, and maybe there was stuff preceding it that didn't allow it, but if that was the case, why wouldn't they have added this guy before the draft?
Exactly. That's
so I think it's more on the lines of
one quick thing before you get to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe this would have kind of thrown a wrench in things, kind of like distracted people a little bit.
Maybe. Yeah. That's a good point.
But at the same time, we can speculate all we want. We have no
timing's too weird for it to not be a coincidence for me. With how negative I am in this draft, I'm just gonna stick with that and say that somebody in the Patriots organization is looking at and saying, holy crap, every pick we made, everyone said we've reached on, so we need to change something up here. It's just that the timing is too weird for me. Like, again, if this was something in the works, I think it would have already been done well in advance before the draft. Help out in any way you can and hopefully make some good picks. And now that this is coming out now, something's a little fishy.
You could have had him at this hasn't been officially announced yet too. We should note that.
True. Okay, true.
The team. But imagine if he just came in right before the draft, the day of, and he was like, and Bill's like, hey, we're bringing
everything's terrible.
We're
changing everything.
Tony here, he's just gonna give us some advice on draft day, welcome Tony, whatever. And then he's like, they're talking about, we should take Cole straight in the first round, and Tony just
your pick sucks. Your pick sucks. Your pick sucks.
Hey, Bill, I know I'm new here, but I don't know about this pick. You know what I'm saying? Wait, this guy, just whispering to each other.
Bill, why the fuck are we listening to Matt Patricia on what he wants to do with the draft?
No, it wasn't Matt Patricia. There's no way.
Just saying, with the stupid moves. Bill, why is Joe Judge here in the first place?
Hey,
what
Bill,
are you doing?
Why are you not taking Andrew Booth Jr. instead?
Bill, we have plenty of.
They'd be whispering in the draft room where they wouldn't have to worry about people hearing.
Exactly.
It's a war room.
The people he's whispering about within the organization can hear him clear as day. But why is this new guy just talking shit about me? What's going on here?
Could you imagine a draft room where everybody's just whispering the whole time? Imagine how funny that would be.
That'd be hilarious. Bill,
that would be kind of funny. They do all the draft documentaries of teams in the draft room. They show videos picks and stuff and whatever.
This is the pick we're making.
Imagine a whole draft documentary comes out and they post on
all in whispers
online.
It'd be so dumb.
It'd be an ASMR draft.
Bill, quick question. I know I'm new here, but from afar it looks like you guys needed corners and linebackers. Why are we loading up on running backs and offensive linemen? I don't have to answer to you. Hold on.
Did you see the whole thing with the Broncos and that whole Russell Wilson video?
No, I was just gonna do my Bill Belichick imitation. I don't have to answer to you because you're new here and you can lick my boot. I don't care what input you have. You suck. Bill, you brought me in here to help you out with the draft, and now you're getting, I don't care. I want offensive guards and running backs.
Bill, how do you feel about your overall draft strategy and how you came out with then, after all said and done? Well, I feel like, we addressed some big needs or whatnot.
I don't care what Bill, you read it. The experts have you listed as the worst draft grade, and they said you reached for, I don't care what anybody says. It's not their opinion on what I do with my football team.
Well, I like what we did for our football team here. We contributed to the future success of the team here, and we're excited to get into camp and move forward. And I think Cole could be a good replacement for Shaq. We traded Shaq earlier in the offseason, but I think we addressed some good needs. We got some good needs at the corner position, and it's gonna help our football team, help us win games.
Okay, Bill. Thank you. That was the most insightful answer you've ever given us, Bill. I appreciate that.
See, what I said was,
what we wish Bill Belichick would say.
Been like, we need
fuck you.
To help our football team. I can't even say it with the same fuck you now. I can't say it without laughing. These players are gonna help our football team.
Bill, I have a question. Go after yourself.
We thought Cole would have been off the board pretty soon after pick 29, and we just the center fielder. We wanted to draft out of Arizona State. We called him. He said he wouldn't have reported to camp, so we didn't take him. So,
Bill, I played baseball. I've never played football in my life.
I have baseball practice too. I'm trying to get drafted.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to look up who their center fielder is now. At this point.
Bill,
I really wish I could do a good Bill Belichick impression, but I just can't. I
Bill,
know for a fact my Belichick impression is just dreadful, and I'm sorry for anybody who had to just listen to
Bill,
it.
you surprised a lot of people taking Cole Strange. What do you like about that guard that made you take him?
He didn't wear number 69 in our line.
We saw him as a a guy we could maybe get up to in the third round. We made some moves, and we really liked him a lot. Bill, you drafted him in the first round. You know that, right? You traded down and still in the first round you made that pick. That wasn't the third round that happens. Shut up. You don't know anything. You don't know what you're talking about. We made the pick that we thought was the best, and go after yourself.
I can't find an Arizona State center fielder. They have everybody listed as outfielders. It doesn't really help
so
me.
You're never going to find one true guy.
Maybe he'll be the next great LV player, but I don't know. It's been a weird episode. It's been a good episode, though. A little weird towards the end. Not
some
really
Bill Belichick, yeah.
We've had a rare circumstance. We've been
work on those
certain discussions to talk about Bruins occasionally, but that's just the way she goes. Thank you for listening. May the 4th be with you. Enjoyed Jack Harlow on Friday. He's dropping a new album. You should listen to it because he's amazing. His music is so goddamn good. But yeah, thank you for listening. You can find us wherever you find your podcast pretty much. I meant to check iHeartRadio and Amazon to see if our podcast is on there yet, but I forgot to check. So if you like to listen there, you can go check that for us. Maybe tweet at us, let us know if it's there. But if not, whatever. Just wherever you find your podcast, Megaphone, the Full Press Coverage app, if you want to check that out. Check out all the other Full Press Coverage content in there as well. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at Mike_Cratty. You can follow Ryan at Ryan_Salvaggio. And you can follow the show at Sal and Cratty Pod. On Twitter, you can follow us on TikTok, throw Salvaggio and Cratty into the search bar. You can give us a rating on Spotify. You can turn all the notification bells, whether it's the Full Press channels on YouTube and Twitch, Spotify. Give us a rating, Spotify, rating on Apple Podcasts. Do whatever you want. Show support to the podcast. We do appreciate it. We just split last week's episode up into 2 parts, and they both did really well in terms of numbers. So thank you for that. That was awesome to see. A little later update than upload than usual, and 2 parts. I thought the numbers might have suffered a little bit. They did not. They exceeded expectations. So thank you very much to all of our loyal listeners. We really do appreciate it. And we hope you continue listening. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your loved ones. But yeah, we'll see you next week. Hopefully the Bruins aren't eliminated. Hopefully the Celtics are still in the playoffs as well. And listen to Jack Harlow's new album on Saturday or not Saturday, Friday. It's gonna be sick. Go Bruins on Friday. I'm gonna be there. It's gonna be awesome. If you're
Bring
gonna
them
be at the
luck.
game, if you're gonna be at the game, let me know.
The love of
If
God, bring them luck.
if the Bruins win, it's because of me. My
Yep.
dad will also be there, in different seats though that he got through work. But we will both be in the building. There might be an earthquake. But yeah, hopefully we'll bring them luck. If we do, if they win, it's because of us. So, that's good. We'll see you next week, episode 94. I can't believe, every week we get one closer to 100. I can't believe we're getting so close. It's awesome. We'll talk to you next week. We love you. Keep listening, please. And we'll talk to you then. Peace out.
I always forget about that lady.
Yeah. I always forget how to end this. So we just gotta.
I think we just exit, don't we? We can never actually
end
just.
Zoom call. Tell the people
All right.
watching live. The recording's done, but.
Yep. See you later. Have a good night.
Deuces.